my mouth were, "Leave him to me." "Why you?" Gray shot back, his voice now significantly more aggravated. "What, you want some?" Natsu smirked. Gray was absolutely not in the mood to joke around with Natsu. He grabbed Natsu's scarf, glaring hard at him. "I don't care who said what. I have a score to settle with him, do you understand? I'm ready to do whatever it takes." Gray snapped. Natsu took hold of Gray's wrist, gripping it firmly, eyes locked on Gray's in mutual seriousness. "Huh, sounds like you haven't been listening to what Naruto was saying earlier. How's throwing your life away going to settle anything? It sounds like you're trying to run away." "Naruto stopped you for a reason, Gray." Natsu snapped back. Suddenly, the temple began shaking again, but this time it wasn't Natsu's doing. Meanwhile, Urza, Lucy, and Happy continued to take down the monks with ease. "Do not back down. We must defeat all those who oppose the Cold Emperor," the female monk commanded, and the rest cheered along with her. Everyone outside suddenly felt the temple shake violently. "What's that sound?" Urza wondered in concern. "It can't be!" Lucy shouted in panic, looking over to see the once tilted temple now standing straight. "Whoa! The temple just righted itself!" Happy exclaimed. Naruto observed his surroundings with displeasure. He remembered entering the temple when it was tilted. The floor hadn't seemed level with the ground either. The temple is back to normal now. That can't be good. "We all know what that means," Naruto said, scanning the space cautiously. "Yeah, it means the moon's going to shine on Deliora," Gray noted, while Natsu angrily kicked and punched the floor, frustrated that the work he had done to tilt the temple was now undone. Zalti dashed in casually through the hole in the wall, smirking. "Sorry for the disturbance," he said in a tone that lacked sincerity. Naruto raised an eyebrow, recognizing this masked man as the one who had been secretly spying on him, Lucy, and Urza from atop a cliff. "Zalti, I should have known. I take it you did this?" Lion assumed, unimpressed. "Indeed I did, sir. The moon will be out soon, so I thought I would take the liberty of straightening out the temple for you," Zalti explained calmly, catching a glimpse of Naruto out of the corner of his eye before locking his gaze onto the shinobi. Zalti stared at Naruto for a long moment, making sure his eyes weren't playing tricks on him. He let out an anxious chuckle. "May I ask, just who is the young man standing by Salamander?" "Naruto Uzumaki," Naruto answered. "Oh please, you must be joking. There's no way you expect me to believe that," Zalti dismissed casually. "I'll admit, this young man certainly resembles Naruto Uzumaki. He's got sun-kissed blonde spiky hair and whisker-like markings on either side of his face. But how can that be? Naruto Uzumaki died in a fight against the goddess of all chakra. How and why would he be here?" Zalti pondered. "You know, I really didn't expect someone like you to have fixed the tilted temple." "Kudos to you," Naruto joked. "I know, right? This weird, shady-looking dude fixed it all by himself." Gray added in agreement. "Man, after I went through all that trouble to mess it up too." "Hey, what did you do to fix it?" Natsu demanded. Zalti was fixated on Naruto, frowning in suspicion before finally turning his attention to Natsu. He couldn't help but laugh at the frustrated pink-haired dragon slayer. "Tell me how you fixed it." Natsu demanded again, his frustration growing. "Well, now that everything else is in order, I suppose I should commence the moon drip ceremony," Zalti said, ignoring Natsu as he began making his way down to the cave that held Deliora. "Hey!" Natsu hollered angrily. Suddenly, Naruto swiftly moved from his spot, startling Natsu, Gray, and Lion as they jerked in surprise. They stared blankly at Naruto's now empty spot before hastily searching for him. "Holy crap, he's fast!" Natsu shouted in awe. Being a ninja, Naruto easily caught up with Zalti, who glanced back and tried to escape from the incoming shinobi. Naruto's speed outmatched Zalti's, and as he charged ahead, he collided with Zalti's back. Zalti yelped in surprise before falling over, stunned. Naruto halted and caught Zalti's body before it slumped onto the hard ground. He then slung Zalti over his shoulder and turned back to Natsu, Gray, and Lion, who stood gaping at Naruto in astonishment. "Naruto!" He moved so fast. The three of us couldn't see him at all. His strength is incredible. It felt like my bones were being crushed against the wall when he threw me and Lion earlier. And that was just him holding back. Wow, Naruto is incredibly powerful. Gray observed, eyeing Naruto closely. Now then, come on Natsu, let's not interrupt Gray in his battle with Lion. You and I need to take care of the demon, Naruto said confidently. Natsu nodded, finally snapping out of his daze. Wait, what are you planning, Naruto? Gray asked, a hint of anxiety in his voice. Natsu, where is the demon located? Naruto asked, ignoring Gray's question. It's underground, beneath the temple. I can take us there if you want, Natsu replied. I would appreciate that, thank you, Natsu, Naruto said, accepting the offer. Come on then, let's leave Gray and Lion to their fight. He gestured for the fire wizard to lead the way to Deliora. Just follow me, Naruto, Natsu smirked with excitement. I have to admit, I'm really looking forward to fighting alongside him. I really hope he is Naruto Uzumaki. However, just before Naruto and Natsu headed off to confront Deliora, Gray growled in frustration. Naruto, what are you doing? You need to tell me your plan. Let us handle Deliora, Gray. Your priority should be to settle the score with Lion. Don't worry about anything else, Naruto replied, turning to look at the ice wizard, his eyes filled with sincerity and assurance. Naruto is right. Give it your all, Gray. I believe in you. For Fairy Tail. Natsu raised his fist in salute to their beloved guild. Gray narrowed his eyes, gritting his teeth in determination before nodding. Thank you, Natsu. Naruto. I promise I won't let you down. With that, Naruto and Natsu walked off, Naruto still carrying the unconscious Salty. Well, Naruto Uzumaki in the flesh. And what a pair you and Natsu make, Lion taunted. Tell me something. Just a moment ago, when I was about to freeze us for good, you were either counting on Natsu or Naruto to stop me, right? Gray questioned. No, quite the opposite. I never thought Natsu would be foolish enough to come near a spell like that. Same with Naruto, he seemed to think this was none of his concern, Lion replied. So you were just going to stand there and take the hit? Gray asked incredulously. Exactly. Because I knew someone would come to rescue me. You, on the other hand, would be finished for good, Lion explained. I should have known, Gray muttered grimly. It would certainly be inconvenient to be sealed in ice, but my allies are just as devoted to my cause as I am. As long as we are on the island, they could use the moon drip to melt the ice whenever they wanted, Lion pointed out. Gray frowned. I didn't think of that. Guess the iced shell was completely useless here. Even so, you still want to fight? After what happened last time. Don't fool yourself, you could never. That's enough. Gray interrupted. What? Lion gasped. Just forget about Deliora, Gray said firmly. What kind of nonsense is this? Your threats don't work, so you turn to begging? Does your guild have a dentist that removes your fangs? Or are you just a coward? Lion taunted. Lion, there's something I have to tell you, Gray finally said. What is it? Lion spat. Is still alive, Gray revealed. Lion froze, his face paling. The iced shell doesn't kill its caster, it uses their body to form the barrier. The ice that's keeping Deliora sealed away, which you've been trying to melt, is actually Master Uar. She isn't dead, she lives on as that ice. I'm sorry I never told you the truth back then. You made me promise to keep quiet, Gray apologized, while Lion remained frozen in shock. If Lion found out I've been turned to ice, he'd probably waste his entire life trying to undo the spell. Of course, Lion finally muttered. It's over, there's no reason to go through with this anymore. Gray added, but he was met with an ice tiger crashing into his back. Gray struggled, groaning in pain as he fell to his knees. You fool. I know how the spell works. I can assure you she's not alive anymore. That's nothing more than a chunk of ice, Lion smirked maliciously. You knew all along? Gray gasped, struggling to rise from the ground. Knowing is one thing, believing is another. And if you truly believe Uar is alive in there, you're an even greater fool than I thought, Lion insulted. Gray shot Lion a furious glare. You knew the truth. You still did this. Gray growled, finally getting back on his feet. And what of it? Lion asked nonchalantly. Gray gritted his teeth before finally punching Leon square in the face, sending him crashing into the ice wall. Impossible. How can you move with that wound? Lion demanded. Well, surprise, surprise. Naruto actually used his amazing power to heal me. And I've had enough. I wanted to save you. But I give up now, Gray grumbled. You want the title of star pupil for yourself? I'm sorry, but I have to fight against Deliora soon, and I would rather not waste any of my energy on you, Lion retorted. Then we'll just use our fists, Gray declared, raising his fist. You want me to fight you without using magic? That's fine by me, Lion smirked. Gray charged ahead, seemingly gaining the upper hand, but was quickly knocked down when Lion struck him painfully in the stomach. Gray choked, falling over. Strike your opponents in the weak spot and hit it with all you've got. You are taught us that, remember? Lion snarled. Gray glared. You have no right to speak her name. And I won't let you. But Lion struck him again in the stomach with a painful kick. Gray let out a choked cry before collapsing once more. Once Natsu and Naruto reached the location of Deliora, Naruto hastily threw Zalti onto the ground before turning his attention to the demon. He examined the ice-covered Deliora carefully. Natsu approached slowly, glancing down at Zalti and then back at Naruto. I can't believe it. Is this really the legendary Naruto Uzumaki? I can't believe this. But this aura, and his appearance, everything matches Makarov's description. Sun-kissed blonde spiky hair, 3 whiskers on either side of his face, and ocean blue eyes. It's got to be him. I hope it is him. What should we do with him? Natsu asked. Naruto shrugged. Don't worry about him. We have more important things to deal with right now. Finally, Zalti began to regain consciousness. He looked around, realizing he was underground with the demon Deliora, along with Naruto and Natsu. Demon you, Naruto Uzumaki. I can't believe you knocked me out with a single headbutt. He certainly is very powerful. He's not called a legend for nothing. There's no way to stop it. Tonight, Deliora shall be revived. Zalti proclaimed. But Naruto remained unfazed, continuing to fixate his gaze upon Deliora while Natsu watched restlessly. Zalti grunted, frustrated by the silence he received from Naruto. What are you planning? You know, for some reason, you seem like a man but you have a hint of lady's perfume, Naruto pointed out playfully. Oh good, I'm not the only one who noticed that, Natsu sighed in relief. Whatever do you mean? I am a man, and I don't wear lady's perfume, Zalti denied sharply. Demon him. How did he sense it? Naruto. What's the plan? Natsu asked. You'll see. Lion continued to relentlessly attack Gray, throwing punch after punch. All Gray could do was endure it. What a shame. Your fists are as weak as your magic. Lion taunted. Gray lunged at Lion, trying to land a blow, but Lion quickly struck him into the wall. Panting, Gray smirked. What we're doing right now kind of reminds me of someone else I used to spar with as a kid, Gray reminisced. This is the end. Lion cackled as the two charged at each other, with Lion landing another successful blow on Gray. Get up. Natsu. Gray immediately thought of. A young Natsu sat on the ground, exhausted and huffing for breath. A young Gray walked over, equally worn out. Come on, get up. Natsu shouted. You're the one that needs to get up, so you come on. Gray shot back. Makarov and a young Urza watched in deadpan. Natsu and Gray charged at each other again. Gray eyed Natsu as he lay flat on his back, then turned to walk away. Sorry, but I win, Gray proclaimed. But Natsu wouldn't have it. Hold on. This fight's not over yet, Gray. Gray looked in disbelief and finally smirked. Well, if that's the way you want it. The two charged at each other once more. In the same fashion, Gray sat on the ground with Lion standing triumphantly over him, though panting in exhaustion. That settles it. You're no match for me, Lion said, smirking and turning away from Gray. Hold on. This fight's not over just yet. Gray insisted. Lion sighed in frustration. I should have defeated you when I had the chance. Once again, the two lunged at each other, preparing to strike. Although Lion landed a blow on Gray's cheek, Gray managed to send Lion crashing into the ice wall. You're going to have to step up your game if you want to beat me, Gray exclaimed angrily. Lion retaliated with equal force, headbutting Gray. I didn't give up against Natsu, and I won't against you, Gray vowed, headbutting Lion in return. The two continued to exchange blows as if their lives depended on it. I'm not going to lose, you hear me? Gray vowed again. I won't lose. You're going down, Gray shouted. You can never defeat me. Lion spat furiously. I remember looking at the sky that day. I don't know why, but it was so blue it made me angry, Gray thought. Finally, Gray delivered a decisive kick to Lion, ultimately defeating him in their battle. Notice anything strange, Lucy? Urza asked as she and Lucy stood back to back, facing the enemy monks. Yeah, even though there are a lot of them, their magic seems weak for some reason, Lucy noted. Exactly. As far as I can tell, there are only 5 wizards among them, Urza pointed out. Ah, man, I guess I'm going to have to go easy on them. Happy said. Just keep telling yourself that, Lucy replied dryly. Do you think you can handle this one? Urza asked. Lucy smirked, taking out Cancer's golden gate key. Oh, you bet. Open. Gate of the giant crab. Cancer. Lucy called out. We've met before, haven't we? Urza wondered. Cancer knelt before the redhead. Indeed we have, and as always, I'm at your service, miss, he gushed. I thought you always said, baby. What's with miss? And aren't you supposed to be at MY's service? Lucy shouted in annoyance. I think someone's jealous. Happy teased. Take them down. But don't kill them, just rough them up, okay? Lucy ordered. All right, baby. Lion struggled for breath, clutching the ice wall he had created for support. His face showed disgust. The Cold Emperor. Defeated in battle by the likes of you. I won't stand for it. Naruto Uzumaki was supposed to take the honor. Lion choked. If you were fighting Naruto, you'd be on death's doorstep. So get over here and fight. Gray demanded, eyeing him coldly. Lion grunted in anger. Ice Make, Snow Dragon. An ice dragon sprang from the ground, wrapping itself around Gray, who easily broke free and crashed to the floor. I thought we agreed not to use magic, Lion. Gray snarled. Don't be such a sore loser. This duel was pointless. Deliora will be revived either way. It's far too late to stop me now. Lion grinned menacingly. Gray gripped his fist, struggling to sit up. I won't stop trying. Gray said stubbornly. Try all you want, but Zolty should be preparing to start the Moondrip ceremony as we speak. I'm pretty sure he's awake by now. But poor him, Naruto's brutal headbutt must have hurt very much, Lion taunted. Not with Naruto and Natsu around. The second you underestimate Natsu is the second you lose. Gray smirked, having full faith in his friend. Naruto, what's your plan? Tell me. Natsu demanded, growing impatient. Naruto stood still and silent, watching as the moonlight shined on Deliora. Come on, any minute now. Zolty cackled. He probably doesn't have a plan. Natsu growled, Naruto, the moonlight is shining on the demon. Any minute now, the ice will melt, and Deliora will be free again. Naruto remained silent, relaxed, his body slouched with his hands tucked in his pockets as usual. Natsu heaved in frustration, getting no answers from the legendary shinobi. Naruto peeked over at the riled-up Dragon Slayer and chuckled softly to himself at how similar Natsu was to his younger self back in the Hidden Leaf Village. Natsu, Naruto finally called out, his head tilted down and eyes closed. What? Do you trust me? Natsu hesitated before finally answering. Yes. Then trust that I know what I'm doing, Naruto asserted, raising his head, opening his eyes, and looking straight at the demon. Natsu exhaled and replied, Oh, I trust you. Thank you, Natsu. Gosh, what's wrong with me? Just have faith in him. If it really is Naruto Uzumaki, Then he will definitely help us and pull through. Zalti observed Naruto in wonder. Naruto Uzumaki. Sure is one hell of a mystery. Just how he ended up here was a mystery. The monks lay in ruins, groaning in pain after cancer had given them a solid beating. Excellent work, let's head to the temple, Urza said. Right. Lucy replied. No, wait, a firm old female voice called out. Lucy turned around in surprise. We won't let you interfere with the cold emperor, the female monk insisted stubbornly. Those headpieces. You people are from the city of Brago. And you want revenge, Urza realized. The female monk narrowed her eyes, recalling the horrifying moments when the demon Deliora had rampaged through the city, tearing it apart. As Naruto continued to watch the moonlight drip onto the ice encasing Deliora, Natsu gazed at him in awe. Ever since Natsu had heard the myths and legends, he had idolized Naruto as a hero, always eager to fight him. But now that he had truly met him, he wanted to know more. Everything about this young man fascinated him. Natsu hoped to become close friends with Naruto and, like Urza, wished for him to join Fairy Tail. Zalti also stood watching the moon drip ceremony in progress. So tell me now, why are you allowing the moon drip ceremony to proceed? You were the last person I thought would allow this, Zalti asked curiously. Naruto ignored the masked man and remained silent, continuing to observe Deliora's current condition. Zalti growled, growing more frustrated with each passing moment. The temple suddenly began to shake violently. I've got a bad feeling that this isn't Natsu or Naruto, Gray said grimly. The ceremony is finally reaching completion, Lion said triumphantly. The ice sealing Deliora has begun to melt away, he noted. You are. Gray thought in terror. There's nothing you can do, it's too late to stop me. You and your friends have failed. Not even the great Naruto could stop this. Do you have any idea how long I've been waiting for this moment, Gray? Since I last saw you, I've been gathering knowledge and allies who will aid me. I was fortunate enough to discover this place and island where you can collect the light of the moon. Galuna, Lion said proudly, summoning ice eagles and sending them off to attack Gray, who skillfully evaded them. It wasn't an easy task transporting Deliora from Brago. And the moon drip has taken 3 years. Lion smirked. Gray looked on in dismay. You've been wasting your time on this ridiculous plan for 3 years? Ridiculous? How dare you say that? You spent the last 10 years in some foolish guild, piddling your life away. Lion retorted angrily. Because I put my faith in what you are told me. Gray shot back. In Western countries, there are many wizards who are more powerful than me. So I went west. And eventually made it to Fairy Tail, and she was right. The guild was so full of powerful wizards that I couldn't believe it, Gray explained. I don't think I can help you. The iced shell is based on the will of its caster. And because that will is absolute, a third body cannot melt the ice no matter what magic they use, Makarov had told him. No way. You're telling me that even with all the strong wizards you have, you can't break the spell? Gray shouted in dismay. Actually, now that you think about it, there may be a way. Makarov said, sparking hope in the young boy. On second thought, it's not a good idea. If you melt the ice, it would be no different than killing your master, Makarov warned. I didn't know it at the time, but I bet the old man was thinking about the moon drip when he said that, after everything you did for us, you'd kill her without a second thought. You make me sick. Gray spat venomously. Say what you want, I don't care. My entire life has led up to this moment. Our master is long dead. If we want to prove that we have surpassed her, what can we do in her absence? Think, Gray. Lion smirked, transforming parts of his right arm into a chunk of snow. He lunged at Gray, who quickly dodged. There's only one answer. Deliora, I will surpass our master by defeating the one thing she could not. Lion proclaimed, swinging his iced arm endlessly at Gray, who evaded every attack. Well, that's a pretty ambitious plan. But I can't stop thinking that you might have missed the point somewhere along the way. Gray replied, finally breaking Lion's attacks with his own ice sword. Someone as blind as you can never be better than you are. Not in 100 years. Wake up, Lion. Gray commanded, delivering a decisive blow with his sword. But it turned out to be a feint. Lion reappeared behind Gray slyly. "Fooled you, didn't I? Ice Snow Tiger." Lion hollered. A massive ice tiger burst from the ground, lunging at Gray. Calm as ever, Gray avoided the attack, imprisoning it in an ice prison. He landed on top of the prison he created and looked down at his old friend. "You see this, Lion? This is what you are." Gray insulted. "What?" Lion snapped. "A beast in a cage, lashing out at a world he barely knows." Gray taunted. "Utter nonsense. I'll make quick work of that spell of yours." Lion scoffed, gesturing at the tiger, attempting to free it from Gray's ice cage. "Single-handed spell casting is too unbalanced. Your creations will let you down when you need them the most," Gray replied. He performed the steps for the Maker magic, holding his arms out as if carrying something large. "Ice cannon!" Gray shouted, firing it and sending huge chunks of ice at Lion, who cried out as he was propelled through the walls of the temple, completely incapacitated. "You are taught us that, remember?" Gray concluded. "Jirai." Lion choked weakly before finally collapsing in defeat. Gray sighed in relief as he looked at his fallen friend. Finally, the last drop of ice fell, and Deliora's nightmarish roar echoed through the air. Lucy nearly toppled over, covering her ears and trying to block out the horrendous sound. "My ears weren't ready for this." Happy cried. "That doesn't sound too promising." Urza said grimly. "What exactly is happening over there? How are you handling this situation right now, Naruto?" "It's so loud." Natsu screeched, covering his ears in pain from Deliora's deafening roar as his eardrums threatened to burst from the thundering sound. Finally, Naruto muttered, "Man, you really are underwhelming, especially in this condition. It would be an insult for Kurama to even have to face you in combat." The ice finally cracked, and Deliora emerged, its rage echoing throughout Galuna Island. "Yes, it's free." Zalti cheered. Gray's wild bangs overshadowed his face. "That sound. I can never forget that sound." "Deliora." Lion croaked. "They did it. They actually revived it." Gray furrowed his brows, gritted his teeth tightly, and his eyes widened in panic and shock. "I really hope you've got a plan, Naruto. If not, then there's only one way." Iced shell. Deliora's overwhelming roar echoed throughout Galuna Island, piercing the ears of the villagers. "Finally! The moment is here!" Zalti cheered, waving his arms in excitement. Naruto glared at Zalti in agitation, thinking, "He's really getting on my nerves. I need to deal with him first so he doesn't become an inconvenience later on." What was that noise? It sounded like some kind of monster growling. Lucy exclaimed in horror. "It was probably just your stomach, Lucy." Happy teased, even in the seriousness of the moment. "You know, you're not as funny as you think you are," Lucy retorted, annoyed. "Do you think that sound might have been Deliora?" Urza asked nervously. "Oh no, you mean that they brought it back to life?" Lucy shrieked in terror. "Look at that purple light. That's the moon drip." Happy gasped, pointing to the purple magic circle with moonlight filtering through it. Then, the ear-splitting roar of Deliora came again. "It must be." Urza muttered. "Naruto, I hope you have a plan." "Hey, you need to eat something." Happy insisted. "And you need to be quiet before I lose my patience." Lucy snapped back. "That might be the demon growling, but someone is still performing the moon drip ceremony up there. This means they haven't fully revived it yet, so we still have a chance. Come on." Urza commanded as she began to run. "Wait, Deliora's below us," Lucy said, stunned. "Stopping the ceremony is our only hope. We have to hurry." Urza shouted back. Zalti chuckled, smirking slyly. Naruto let out a frustrated huff. "A genjutsu will suffice for now." He approached Zalti, activating his Sharingan. The intense red eyes began to take effect, freezing Zalti in fear. The aura of the Sharingan overwhelmed him, and he could only stare into Naruto's hypnotic gaze. What's happening?" Zalti stammered before his eyes rolled back, rendering him unconscious. Naruto turned his attention to the masked man, catching a whiff of a woman's perfume. Now that's interesting. What is a man like Zalti doing wearing women's perfume? Natsu gasped. What did you just do, Naruto? Naruto glanced back at Natsu, who was frozen in silence, captivated by the Sharingan. Your eyes, Naruto. What happened to them? Natsu asked, concerned. This is called the Sharingan. I used it to put Zalti under an illusion. It's not a powerful genjutsu, but it's enough to keep him out for a few hours. Right now, I can't have distractions while fighting Deliora, Naruto explained, deactivating his dojutsu. Oh, did I see? Natsu replied, still unnerved by Naruto's eyes. Just who are you? Everything about you is a mystery. Don't worry too much about it. We have more important matters to focus on. Just then, Urza, Lucy, and Happy reached the top of the temple. With a powerful swing, Urza struck down Toby, effectively stopping the moon drip. So, this guy was doing it all by himself? Happy said in disbelief. Too late. It's over. The ceremony's already been completed, Toby declared. Urza grunted in frustration, her expression filled with concern as Deliora emerged, fully freed from the ice that had encased it. No way. Lucy muttered in absolute terror. What is this? Something terrible is happening, the village chief Mocha said grimly. We have to get off the island, chief, a villager panicked, tugging at Mocha's arm, trying to pull him away from Bobo's gravestone. I'm staying. You all can go. I'm not leaving this place behind, Mocha said stubbornly, clinging to his son's gravestone. Gray looked up at Deliora in disbelief. His nightmare had come true. The ice that had held Uar was melting, and the demon Deliora was free once again. Gray bent down, scooping up the water from Uar's ice before letting it drip back down, flowing with the melted ice. He gazed sorrowfully, his bangs covering his eyes. Thank you, Gray whispered softly. Naruto approached him, offering a look of empathy. He placed an arm around Gray's shoulder, allowing him to mourn in silence. Naruto understood Gray's emotions all too well. Seeing him mourn reminded him of Jiraiya, whom he had lost. Hey, what are you doing here? Natsu shouted, catching the attention of both Gray and Naruto. Natsu! Gray exclaimed. There's only one thing we can do now. We have to take that thing down. Natsu declared resolutely. Neither of you are strong enough. But I am, and I will defeat it. Lion said, crawling on the ground. Lion. Gray muttered, feeling pity. I'm going to surpass you finally. Lion laughed. You can't fight. You can't even get up off the floor. Natsu shouted. Deliora roared once more as Lion gazed at it triumphantly. I've waited so long for this moment. Lion proclaimed. Looking for the most powerful wizard? Uar is the strongest around here. She's been hidden in the mountains ever since she lost her daughter years ago. I've never met another wizard as skilled as she is, a man had said. Lion looked up in amazement. Wow, that you are. Do you think she'll teach me magic? She was strong, but still not strong enough to defeat that demon. I'm going to do what Uar never could. Lion vowed. It's bad enough you took that punk in. Now you're teaching him magic too. Lion shouted in dismay. He told me he wanted to learn. Is that a problem? You asked. You don't need him. You've already got me to take the place of your daughter. Lion shouted carelessly, earning a slap on the cheek from Uar. Lion clutched his cheek, looking up at Uar, who leaned down to meet his gaze sternly. Lion, let's get this straight. I've never once thought of you as a replacement for my daughter. You are who you are, you're my adorable student. Finally, my dream will be fulfilled, Lion declared proudly. However, Gray had reached his limit with Lion's antics and decided to take action, swiftly knocking him out with a precise strike to the back of his neck, causing Lion to collapse to the ground, unconscious. Now then, Naruto, do you have a plan to stop this demon? If not, I will gladly cast Iced Shell on Deliora to seal it away, just as my master did, Gray stated firmly. Naruto placed a hand on Gray's shoulder and offered him a reassuring smile. Don't worry, buddy, leave this to me. I've got it. Gray sighed. I shouldn't leave this to you, I should be the one to handle this. I'm sorry, I just met you and I'm already putting so much on your shoulders. Excuse my rudeness. Naruto chuckled. I told you before, Gray, your only priority tonight was to settle the score with Lion, and from the looks of it, you did just that. Plus, you've done enough work tonight, just rest for a bit. I promise this won't take long. It really isn't a burden at all, so don't worry about anything. That's right, Gray, have faith in Naruto. He's Naruto after all. I think he's proven that to be true already. Natsu smirked, finally placing his full trust in the person he had always admired. Gray took a deep breath and nodded to Naruto. Thank you, Naruto, we're counting on you. Naruto nodded back before turning his attention to the demon. He focused on Deliora, observing and processing everything happening before him, preparing for action. I understand everything. Deliora was never alive. He was dead all along. That means it should be quite easy to defeat him. Naruto closed his eyes, extending his arm, flexing his fist and stretching out his fingers. Concentrating, he gathered a small amount of chakra to the palm of his hand. Finally, Naruto opened his eyes and surged from his spot, leaping high into the air. Once he made eye contact with the demon, he balled his hand into a fist, ensuring that only a pinch of chakra was concentrated there before delivering a decisive blow to Deliora. As Naruto landed back on the ground, Deliora began to crack into dozens of pieces, resembling shards of glass, as if on the verge of shattering. In an instant, Deliora exploded into tiny particles, scattering dust and ashes everywhere. Lion was left speechless, while Gray was astonished by how easily Deliora was defeated, even at the hands of Naruto. Natsu finally realized what Naruto's plan had been. Impossible! Lion shouted in disbelief as the realization hit him hard. So, Deliora was already dead. Naruto nodded. It took me a while. I sensed something was off the moment I came down and saw the actual physical demon encased in ice. Gray's eyes widened in shock. Natsu stood frozen for a moment before fully grasping the situation. So, is that why you wanted to fight Deliora? You already had a feeling, didn't you? Natsu asked, amazement in his voice. Naruto smirked and nodded in response to the pink-haired dragon slayer. So Naruto, you knew all along. You're amazing, Gray muttered. Sorry for doubting you, Naruto. From now on, I will always have complete faith in you, Natsu apologized. Naruto smiled. Thank you, Natsu. Meanwhile, Lion sobbed in sorrow and disappointment. The ground trembled, and water began to leak from the temple like multiple waterfalls. What's going on? Happy wondered. I don't know. Lucy replied. For 10 years, UR has gradually depleted the demon's life force. What we just saw were nothing but its last dying breaths. My dream is dead, there's no hope now. I will never surpass UR. Lion choked, punching the ground in frustration. Wow, your teacher was pretty awesome. Natsu smiled. I freed you from the darkness, Gray. I've sealed it away forever. Gray broke down into tears, finally understanding the sacrifice his beloved master made for him. You saved my life again. Thank you, Gray cried tearfully in gratitude. Natsu grinned, happy for his best friend. Naruto looked on with contentment. Seeing Gray and his master reminded him of his own bond with Jiraiya. He understood the pain of losing a precious mentor all too well. Naruto approached the misty-eyed Gray. Listen to me. I know how you feel. It hurts very much. That's why I'm doing this. I don't ever want you to go through what I had to. Gray looked up at Naruto, confused. What do you mean by that, Naruto? Do me a favor, Gray, and step back. Don't ask questions. You'll find out soon enough. Got it? Naruto instructed. Hesitantly, Gray nodded and stepped back to Natsu, who was just as clueless. I wonder what he's doing. Naruto is so mysterious. Just who is he? Gray pondered. I don't know, but there's one thing I do know. Trust him. He knows what he's doing, Natsu replied. Naruto, you said you knew how I feel. What do you mean? You can't just tell me something like that and bottle everything else in. I want to know so much more about you, Gray thought in frustration. Naruto took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and stepped onto the water, astonishing Gray and Natsu as he stood on the surface. Naruto, you never cease to amaze me. No wizard alive can stand on top of the water. I really hope you join Fairy Tail, Gray thought in awe. Naruto bit his thumb, and a hint of blood splashed out. He performed a series of hand signs before slamming his palm down onto the water, causing markings to appear across its surface. Naruto then clasped his hands together, forming a tiger hand sign. Sealing technique, release. Naruto shouted. Gray and Natsu gasped as they noticed the water begin to dry up, slowly forming the figure of a female body. Gray watched intently, his heart racing. No way. Don't tell me he's doing what I think he's doing. Finally, the female figure took shape, revealing Master Yuar. Gray immediately teared up and rushed over to her. Yuar, he shouted, joyfully running to her side. Yuar looked over and smiled happily at her precious Gray. She held her arms open, ready to take him in for a much-needed embrace. Gray fell to his knees as Yuar enveloped him in a warm and tender hug. Oh Gray, look at you all grown up. Yuar smiled joyfully. Natsu grinned widely upon witnessing the emotional reunion between master and student. Naruto stood up, watching the tearful moment from afar with contentment. He took off the kusanagi from his back and handed it over to Natsu. Hold this for me, would you, Natsu? Natsu nodded, swinging the kusanagi over his shoulder. Naruto removed his red sage coat and walked over to Yuar as she finally released Gray from the embrace. He gently placed the coat over Yuar, offering her some modesty. Gray smiled heartily at the gesture. Naruto, I am forever in debt to you. Thank you. Ooh, you're going to think I'm crazy, but that right there is Naruto Uzumaki. The Naruto Uzumaki, Gray said excitedly. Yuar turned her gaze to Naruto, eyeing him carefully before chuckling softly. What a strange incident, but what an honor to meet the legendary Naruto Uzumaki himself. You yourself are quite the legend. You've done many great things and taught your students well, Naruto praised. Yuar looked at him and smiled in pleasure. Lion groaned faintly, finally finding the strength to stand and walk over to his master and fellow student. Tears welled in Lion's eyes as he saw his precious master, overcome with guilt. You are. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Lion wept softly with regret. Yuar sighed, Oh Lion, come here. Lion's legs gave out as he fell weakly, sobbing into Yuar's arms while she rubbed soothing circles on his back. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Never again, I promise. Never again. Oh Lion, you haven't changed, have you? You're still the cute little idiot you always were. No matter what happens, you and Gray will always be my adorable pupils. Yuar soothed. Not long after, Lucy's upbeat voice could be heard as she, Urza, and Happy walked into the dungeon. Hey you guys. Lucy chirped, waving gleefully at the boys. Urza sighed in relief upon seeing her team and Naruto safe and sound. The three froze in shock at the sight of Yuar. Naruto chuckled at their astonishment. Naruto, what's going on? What happened? Is that Yuar? Urza asked in disbelief. Yeah, I used a special sealing jutsu to bring her back. It turns out Deliora was already dead, so it only took one hit to finish it, Naruto explained briefly. I see, Urza replied, thinking, you're full of surprises, Naruto. Happy flew over to Natsu, who was just as glad to see his trusty little blue cat, happily snuggling him. As soon as Natsu spotted Urza, he jumped in surprise and attempted to run away, knowing exactly why she was there, but Urza caught him effortlessly. Gray approached Lion, looping his arm around his shoulder to help him stand. Gray smiled, glad to see his childhood friend finally coming to his senses. Here, Naruto, your sword, Natsu said, walking up to hand the kusanagi back to Naruto. Thanks. Naruto was approached by Gray, Lion, and Yuar, and he swung the kusanagi onto his back. Thank you, Naruto. You truly are a mystery, being able to bring someone back to life. You're a legend, Lion said in admiration, avoiding eye contact with the shinobi. Yeah. Thanks, Naruto. I don't know how you did it, but I'm really glad you did, Gray chuckled. Of course. So what's going to happen? Are you going to join Fairy Tail, Yuar? Naruto asked. Yua shook her head. No. I'm going to head back to the mountains. Thank you for bringing me back. You certainly live up to the legend. Naruto chuckled, holding up his hands in modesty. You are a legend, sealing the demon away, managing to deplete it of its power, and saving your precious students. Yua tilted her head in curiosity. She could see the darkness in gray before, and now she noticed the deep sorrow in Naruto's baby blue eyes. Something must have happened to him. Something terrible. Otherwise, I wouldn't see such sadness in those innocent blue eyes. Have you had any masters or mentors before? She asked. Naruto paused in silence before giving an empty smile and simply replying, yes. So, what happened to them? Gray wondered but dared not to ask, knowing better than to tread on unstable ground. Urza felt her heart sink, recognizing the fakeness of that smile. Like Gray, she wanted to know more about Naruto but refrained from asking sensitive questions. The group began walking back to the surface, but Naruto had one final thing on his mind. Hey, he called. The group looked back at him with curious expressions. What is it, Naruto? Urza asked, a hint of nervousness in her voice. You guys go on without me. I still have unfinished business to take care of. Don't worry about me, I'll be fine. I'll meet you back up there soon, Naruto assured. Urza nodded before turning back to the group. Be careful. With that, the group continued on without him. Meanwhile, Zalti groaned as he opened his eyes, waking up to a horrible ache in his head and a painful bruise in his hips. Finally, Zalti's eyes were wide open. He sat up in a panic, realizing he was still underground alone where Deliora had been. Except, the demon was no longer there. Instead, he found only the shattered remnants of Deliora. In a fit of rage, he slammed his fist into the ground and screamed in frustration, disrupting Naruto's peaceful meditation. Naruto sat on top of the water, his legs crisscrossed, hands pressed together, and eyes closed. He sighed in dismay and jumped to his feet, looking over at the disheveled masked man throwing an immature tantrum. Seeing that, Naruto couldn't help but chuckle. You know, that's quite the fit you're throwing right there, he teased. Zalti growled and turned to see the blonde shinobi standing on top of the water. Go to hell. Right back at you, buddy, Naruto replied jokingly, a hint of coldness in his tone. Zalti grunted in irritation. Naruto slowly approached the masked figure, his posture relaxed, hands in pockets, exuding an air of indifference. And by the way, you can drop the disguise. Don't worry, your secret is safe with me. Mississippi. He flashed a smug grin. Zalti's eyes widened in shock. But how? I don't know what you're talking about. Don't you dare. Call me a miss, I am a man, Zalti insisted stubbornly. Naruto sighed. Well, anyway, I need you to do me a favor. Why would I ever help you? Zalti scoffed. Naruto's gaze turned icy, devoid of any emotion. He stepped closer to Zalti, leaning down so their eyes met. Listen closely. You will use your powers to restore the destroyed village. If you try anything suspicious, I assure you, you will regret it. Understood? His voice was quiet yet menacing. Zalti trembled, fear coursing through him, and nodded. Great! Naruto smiled innocently as he straightened up and began to walk away. He turned back, his expression hardening. Just to ensure you follow my orders, I'll be watching your every move. The moment you try something, I will intervene. Zalti groaned in frustration. So, who are you really? Naruto asked, his tone softening slightly. With a reluctant sigh, Zalti decided to reveal his true form, transforming into a stunning young woman with long, straight black hair and features reminiscent of Yua. This is my true form. My name is Altair, she said. To her surprise, Naruto responded with a warm smile that touched her heart. You're a beautiful young lady. Why hide under a man? Naruto asked. Altair felt a gentle smile tug at her lips in response to the compliment. That is none of your business, she snapped, though her tone was less harsh than before. You are decided to leave immediately, so Urza offered her the boat that she and Naruto had used to reach Galuna Island. Gray and Lion tearfully bid farewell to their beloved master, their hearts at ease knowing Yor was alive and well. Urza, Lucy, Natsu, and Happy watched with bittersweet emotions. Yor was alive, but she would return to her isolated life, a magical existence granted by Naruto. Lucy sighed in relief, glad the ordeal was over. I was really worried for a moment. Both Yor and Naruto are amazing. Speaking of Naruto, where is he? Urza asked, concern etched on her face. Oh yeah, he said he was staying behind to take care of unfinished business. What do you think he meant? Gray wondered. Urza shrugged. I don't know. Natsu exclaimed, man, Naruto is incredible. Not only did he defeat Deliora with a single blow, but he knew all along about Deliora's condition. He even brought Yor back to life. Urza smiled, her cheeks slightly flushed. There's still so much to learn about you, isn't there? To the group's relief, they spotted sun-kissed blonde hair in the distance. Instantly, they recognized it was Naruto. He looked up and smiled as he saw Lucy waving enthusiastically. Hey, Naruto! Lucy shouted. Naruto ran over to join them. Hey guys. So where's Yor? Did she leave already? Yeah, Urza replied. I see. Naruto nodded. Natsu jumped in joy. We totally finished the S-Class quest by ourselves. Lucy's eyes sparkled with excitement. Do you think Master Makarov will let us on the second floor now? Gray chuckled, but their joy quickly faded when Urza shot them a fierce glare. Natsu, Lucy, and Happy gaped in panic while Gray frowned in annoyance. Oh no! You're still going to punish us, huh? Lucy exclaimed in horror. Isn't there something you're all forgetting? You came to this island to help the villagers. The request was for you to return them to their original forms. You still haven't completed your S-Class quest, Urza pointed out. But I don't understand. The curse should be lifted now that Deliora's dead, Lucy said, puzzled. Wrong. This curse has nothing to do with the demon. The villagers have been affected by the intense magical energy released by the moon drip spell. In other words, Deliora's death won't change their current situation at all, Urza explained. Lucy gasped in fright. Oh no! Naruto and Urza turned their attention to Natsu. Well then, we better go change them back, he grinned, giving Happy an excited high five. Aye, sir. Happy chirped. Yeah, but we don't know how. Gray cried. He turned to Lion, who was sitting on a rock, still recovering from his wounds. Lion, do you know? To be honest, I don't have a clue, Lion replied bluntly, his expression serious. You don't know? Natsu grunted. What? Happy echoed. They told us the curse started at the same time you guys got here. Lucy inquired. When we first arrived 3 years ago, we knew there was a village somewhere on this island. But we had no reason to communicate with the villagers, so we left them alone. They never came to the temple to see what we were up to, Lion explained. In 3 years, you've never once met? Urza asked, looking over at Naruto, who was equally intrigued by this new information. What are you thinking right now, Naruto? I don't understand. The moon drip is so bright, you can practically see anywhere on the island. It's strange that they saw it every night but never investigated, Lucy said. The villagers weren't transformed by a moon drip. It doesn't affect the human body, Lion added. Naruto's eyes widened. This is getting more interesting. What? Urza gasped in surprise. Yeah, right. You're just saying that so you and your lackeys will be off the hook, Natsu retorted. Hold on, Natsu. Let's hear Lion out. He may be right or he may be lying, but there's no harm in learning new, useful information. The more I learn, the more it makes sense to me, and I'm beginning to realize the truth, Naruto disagreed. Natsu grunted in frustration. Urza raised an eyebrow in confusion. Truth. Naruto shook his head. That's not important right now. I can't confirm it at this moment. Let's just hear out Lion for now, Urza suggested, and the group nodded in agreement. Just think about it, I've been exposed to it longer than they have, and my appearance hasn't changed one bit, Lion stated confidently. That's true. Lucy exclaimed, her eyes wide with realization. Lion crossed his arms and frowned. I wouldn't trust them. Those villagers are hiding something. But I'm sure you guild wizards can handle it, especially with the special help of Naruto Uzumaki. We're not done with you. You destroyed the village, Natsu began, but Urza quickly squeezed his cheeks, silencing him. Naruto chuckled at the scene. That's quite enough, Natsu, Urza scolded gently. You really want to know why we joined Lion? It's because our families were killed by Deliora, and we wanted revenge. He convinced us that if we helped him release the demon, he would take care of it for good, Toby said sadly. They were simply doing what they believed was right, so there's no need to criticize them for it. Let's go, Urza said, finally releasing Natsu and walking away. Wait, what are we going to do to lift the curse? Natsu shouted. I have no idea, Urza replied simply. Oh, great. What about you, Naruto? Lucy turned to her fellow blonde. To her dismay, Naruto shrugged. She sighed in frustration. Gray turned back to his childhood friend. What are you looking at? Lion snapped, irritated by Gray's gaze. I know you don't want to hear it, but you really should join a guild. You might make new friends, meet new rivals, and maybe even find a new dream to live for, Gray suggested. Lion scoffed, brushing it off. Whatever, just get out of here. Gray smirked, unfazed. Urza strolled over to Naruto, noticing him glance at her as they listened to Lion. She felt a connection growing between them. Slowly, he was breaking down the walls he had built around himself. Urza wanted to believe that eventually, Naruto would open up. He just needed time. Are you thinking what I'm thinking right now? She asked. Are you thinking that the villagers' true forms aren't really human, but actually demons? Naruto replied. And the real reason why the moon is purple is because of a shield caused by the moon drip, giving it that color, Urza continued. And that the villagers must have lost their memories as well? Naruto finished. The two exchanged satisfied glances, proud of their deductions. So, is there a plan? Naruto asked. I was hoping you'd have one. No worries, I got it, Urza assured him. Naruto nodded in agreement. That's weird. Where is everybody? Happy wondered aloud. Are you sure they came here? Natsu asked doubtfully. Yeah, this is their camp. I wonder where they could have gone, Lucy said, scanning the area. Hello. Happy called out, trying to get the attention of any villagers. Naruto's face lit up with hope. Could the villagers have gone back to the village? Did she really restore it? You finally made it back. There's something you need to see. Please, follow me to the village. A villager cried joyfully as he ran toward them. The villagers rejoiced, glad to see their precious home restored and back to normal. Naruto closed his eyes and smiled, feeling a sense of fulfillment. She really did it. Whoa! Are you kidding me? Lucy gasped in shock. Yesterday it was a total mess, but now it looks perfect. Happy exclaimed. What's going on? The village is back to normal. It's like it went back in time. Natsu shouted, baffled as he banged his fist against a village hut, still in disbelief. Lucy deadpanned, now that it's fixed, you probably shouldn't touch anything, okay, Natsu? Natsu didn't take that well and turned to Lucy in annoyance. Are you saying I destroy everything I touch? Well, kinda, Lucy replied simply. Wait, back in time? Natsu perked up. Was it him? Nah, it couldn't be. Unless he had a change of heart. He trailed off, shrugging as he walked away nonchalantly. Who cares? He concluded. Not me. Happy beamed. What are you talking about? Oh, I forgot about our stuff. Lucy suddenly realized. Mocha sat in front of Bobo's grave, unable to part from it. Lucy saw him and approached quietly. Bobo's grave is back. I'm so glad, and I'm sure the chief must be relieved, Lucy thought with relief. You and your wizard friends used magic to restore our village, didn't you? Mocha said, turning to look at Lucy. Oh well, sir. That's not I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. However, I must know now, when are you wizards finally going to destroy the moon for real? He blurted out. Lucy was at a loss for words. Destroying the moon is a simple task, sir, Urza assured him. Naruto stepped in beside her and nodded in agreement. What the? Did she just say that with a straight face? And am I going crazy, or did Naruto just agree to her idea? Gray said in awe. Maybe they've both gone crazy, Happy added. But before I do that, I need to ask you all a few questions. Would you assemble everyone for a meeting? Urza requested. Let me make sure I have my facts straight. The first time the villagers took on these demonic forms was when the moon began to turn purple, is that correct? Urza asked. Yes, during the day we're fine. But when the moon comes out, we transform into what you see now, Mocha responded. And the moon first turned purple 3 years ago, Urza continued. Wow, has it really been that long? Yeah. We've learned that the moon drip ceremony has been happening on this island every night for the last 3 years, and each night it produced a light so brilliant you couldn't possibly have missed it, Urza confirmed, oblivious to the pitfall trap she was walking over. Hey Urza, watch out! Naruto shouted in warning, rushing over just in time to catch her wrist and prevent her from falling. Oh. Even Lucy's pitfall trap got Urza. If it wasn't for Naruto, she would have fallen. Happy exclaimed, while Natsu and Gray nodded in agreement. With ease, Naruto pulled Urza up and she slowly hoisted herself out of the pit with his help. Are you okay? Naruto asked, concern etched on his face. Urza felt a slight blush creep onto her cheeks. Yes. Thank you, Naruto, she replied, taking a step back. So anyway, back to the subject. Didn't you all wonder where the light was coming from? Urza resumed. I don't understand, why won't anyone investigate? The villagers began murmuring among themselves, sweat drops appearing on their faces. Well, we would have looked into it, but according to village lore, our people must never go near that temple, Mocha answered, trembling slightly. But who cares about village lore when your own people are suffering? You obviously knew there was a problem because you contacted the magic guilds. Lucy said. A long silence followed as Urza looked at the villagers and then back at Naruto. He gave her a brief glance, encouraging her to continue seeking the truth. Understanding his message, Urza pressed on. Why don't you tell us what's really going on? Urza asked softly. To be honest, we don't even know that ourselves. Let me explain. We've tried to investigate the light many times. We took up weapons we never had to use. I styled my sideburns, and then we ventured into the jungle toward the temple. But we could never get near it. We would get close enough to see it through the trees, and suddenly we'd find ourselves back at the village gates, Mocha explained. Lucy looked concerned. But how is that possible? It doesn't make sense. We got into the temple without a problem at all. How strange, Natsu said. Suspiciously. Naruto furrowed his brows, realizing the villagers were indeed what they claimed to be. We didn't say anything to you because we were worried you wouldn't believe us. We're telling you the truth. We've tried to go back to the temple many times. But not a single villager was able to get inside. Urza nodded, fully understanding the situation, just as she and Naruto had confirmed earlier. Lucy, Gray, and Natsu looked on in utter confusion. From a distance, Zalti chuckled. Impressive, Titania and Naruto Uzumaki. I should have known it wouldn't take you long to figure it out. Yeesh, that troublesome Naruto. Urza began transforming her armor as she walked away. Natsu, Naruto, come with me. I need your help to destroy the moon. Naruto smirked, and Natsu chuckled in excitement. Meanwhile, Lucy, Gray, and Happy stared in shock. Natsu, Naruto, we're going to destroy the moon, Urza affirmed. Really? Natsu shouted, filled with excitement. Naruto chuckled and shook his head in amusement. Lucy, Gray, and Happy, however, could only stare in disbelief as their expressions turned serious. It's the only way we can change the villagers back to their human forms, Urza explained. The villagers cheered joyfully. They're really going to do it. And we get to watch it happen. Right? And we're finally going to be human again. Where do you think we should go? Should we climb up to the temple? It's a lot higher from up there. Natsu grinned playfully. We'll do it from here. The villagers can't go near the temple, and they need to witness this, Urza replied. I agree with her. Plus, I think I'm only here to assist you and Urza, Naruto added. I don't know what she's thinking, or what Naruto is thinking. I mean, there's no doubt she can do amazing things, and we still have yet to see the extent of Naruto's abilities, But even so, Gray trailed off, his voice shaky. What do you think they're going to do to it? Lucy asked nervously. This is exciting, huh? Happy said. More like terrifying, Lucy countered. This is giant armor. It increases my strength and allows me to throw farther, Urza explained in her newly equipped armor, holding out her arm as a giant spear appeared, gripping it firmly with her ironclad hand. And this is the Demoliva lance. It repels darkness. Naruto watched, knowing exactly what the plan was. Whoa! I see what you're planning now. You're going to use that spear to knock the moon out of the sky. Natsu exclaimed eagerly. Give me a break, that's never going to work. Gray, Lucy, and Happy thought in unison. That's right, but I'm afraid I'm going to need more strength than this armor can give me. So, Natsu, I'm going to need your firepower as a boost. Naruto, use any means necessary to assist Natsu. Got it? Urza asserted. Naruto nodded. Whenever I throw the spear, I want you guys to hit the back of it with your powers. Now, we're going to have to time our attack. But I think you should give me just enough power to do the job, Urza added. Sounds like a killer plan to me. Natsu beamed. Naruto smirked. I can't wait to destroy the moon. Urza was relieved that Naruto had already figured out her plan. It was pleasing to know he was clever enough to see eye to eye with her. Then let's do it. Gray, Happy, and Lucy watched anxiously, doubt creeping into their minds. They don't think they're really going to pull this off, do they? Gray sighed. Well, I think they've totally gone off the deep end this time, Lucy shook her head. The villagers watched as Urza, Naruto, and Natsu stood atop a tower, gazing up and preparing to destroy the moon. They really don't need my help. Natsu's firepower should be enough to boost Urza's spear. But since she wants my help, I guess I can concentrate a little chakra into my hand and create a more accelerating boost for her spear. Urza then stood back, extending her elbow and aiming her spear straight at the moon as a magic circle activated. Now, she hollered. Naruto looked over to Natsu and smirked. You ready, Natsu? Natsu grinned widely. Absolutely. Together, the boys charged. Natsu's fist lit up in flames while Naruto prepared his chakra. They simultaneously slammed their fists and palms against the back of Urza's spear as she released it from her hands, moving it at the moon with all her might. It was more than enough to give the spear an incredible boost. The force was so immense that it created a massive explosion, leaving Lucy and Gray in stunned silence. What are they thinking? Lucy exclaimed. They did it. Happy cheered. This is bad. Gray murmured as the three watched the spear shoot up into the sky, along with the rest of the villagers and Mocha. Almost there. Urza narrowed her eyes. It'll work, Natsu's firepower is already enough, she thought. Natsu jumped with excitement as the spear finally struck the moon, causing a small crack to form. No way! Lucy and Gray shouted in disbelief. However, as the moon appeared to shatter, it was actually a layer of membrane-like material that broke apart, revealing a different hue. This revelation sparked a great commotion among the group as the villagers began to murmur. Lucy's eyes widened as realization hit her hard, and Gray shared the same expression. Naruto and Urza exchanged knowing smiles. Good job, Urza. Thank you, Naruto. Lucy reached out, her fingertips brushing against the shards falling from the sky. It wasn't the moon that shattered, it was the sky. What the heck is going on? Natsu shouted, bewildered. Naruto chuckled and glanced at Urza, leaving the explanation to her. A noxious membrane was covering the island as a result of the spell, Urza explained. Natsu still looked confused. The moon drip released dark energy in the form of gas, which then crystallized and formed an invisible shell around the island, Urza added. And that's what gave the moon its eerie purple appearance, Naruto concluded. What Lion had told the group provided Naruto with more insight into the situation, and he quickly began to understand what was truly happening, though he remained silent, unsure of how to proceed. At last, the villagers began to glow, a sign that they were finally reverting back to normal. Now that the shell has been broken, everything will return to how it was 3 years ago, Urza affirmed with a smile. However, Despite everything, the villagers still appeared as demons, causing confusion and panic. What's wrong? They're not transforming. Gray exclaimed in alarm. Oh no. Happy whimpered. That's because this is their true form. The moon drip never affected their appearance, Urza began. But it did affect their memories, Naruto added. What do you mean? Lucy asked, intrigued. They believe they are humans who transformed into demons, but it's the other way around, Urza explained. Wait, so you're saying they're really? Lucy trailed off, already knowing the answer. Gray stepped back nervously. Yep, you got it, Urza replied calmly. Lucy and Gray gasped in shock. The villagers have always been demons, Urza added. Natsu nearly gasped, his eyes wide. Lucy stumbled to the ground, struggling to process the surprising news. Is that true? Gray shouted in disbelief. Well, yes, maybe. My memory is a bit hazy. We all looked pretty human when you met us, didn't we? Yes, that's because you all have the ability to transform into humans, Urza clarified. False memories can lead you to believe in things that aren't true. They made you think your temporary states were actually your true forms, Naruto continued. But in reality, you were demons who had fallen victim to the moon drip side effects, Urza concluded. Lucy perked up with curiosity. Hold on, how come Lion and the others weren't affected? I assume it's because they're human. As far as I can tell, only demons were susceptible to memory loss. Both Naruto and I realized the problem as soon as the villagers told us they couldn't go to the temple. Naruto had already figured it out when Lion shared his experience. He just didn't say anything because he wasn't sure. The moonlight collected there was sacred, so creatures of darkness couldn't approach it, Urza explained. You're quite the detective. I knew I could trust you and your friends, a familiar voice said as footsteps approached. Lucy and Gray turned, their faces paling at the sight. Thanks, wizards, I owe you one. Oh, and in the case of Naruto. And Shinobi, Bobo said. Lucy and Happy huddled together in fear. A ghost! You're the guy from the boat. Gray pointed. Natsu gasped. Mocha struggled to speak, managing to croak out, Bobo. But I thought you were, a villager began. A stab in the chest can hurt pretty badly, but you need more than that to kill a demon, Bobo cackled. But on the boat, you just disappeared. Gray stammered. Bobo then vanished from sight, floating in the air with a pair of bat-like wings. I really hope you kids can forgive me for not telling you the truth sooner, Bobo said apologetically. He can fly. Gray trembled. I was the only one who didn't lose my memory. I had to leave because everyone went wild. I knew I was a demon, but suddenly, everyone thought they were cursed humans. Bobo laughed again. Mocha looked up at him, tears forming in his eyes. Be Bobo. He then sprouted his own wings and flew toward Bobo, embracing him joyfully. I'm glad you finally snapped out of it, Pops. Bobo smiled, wrapping his arms around his father's thin frame. The villagers, having regained their memories, looked at each other and smiled before sprouting their own wings to join the emotional reunion, cheering together. The fairy tale team watched on in relief and contentment for the villagers. Yup, they're definitely demons, Urza added playfully. Naruto's face warmed. Speaking of demons, how are you all doing? Sorry if I haven't been in touch lately, I've been a bit busy. Kurama chuckled. It's great to see you back in action, kid. Yeah, it suits you better. It's not like you to stay inactive for so long, Yuki said. I can't believe you missed out on so much. This world is so different, and it has so much to offer, especially with this guild. Matatabi chimed in. Shikaku nodded in agreement. The Sage of Six Paths gave you a second chance, don't waste it. Start anew in this world, make new friends, and keep your old friends in your heart. This world may need you. Seek peace once again. Be the Naruto everyone loves and admires, one of his friends said. Naruto chuckled. Whatever you say, guys. He was brought back to reality when Natsu added to Urza's quote. I don't know, if you look at their faces, they kinda look more like angels to me, Natsu said. The team, including Naruto, wore wide grins as they watched the villagers rejoice in pure joy. Let's have a feast tonight to celebrate. It will be a demon party. Mocha cheered. I don't know if I'm rowdy enough to party with demons. Lucy said sheepishly. Me either, Happy replied. It certainly was a feast, with plates and plates of food spread out on the tables and villagers munching and chatting in delight. Despite the monstrous amounts of food laid out, Natsu decided to replenish his strength by consuming fire. Gray isolated himself in a quiet area, enjoying his soup in peace. How are you doing? You're looking a lot better, a female demon villager approached. Gray looked puzzled. Do I know you? Maybe this will help, she said, reverting to her human form. Memories stirred as Gray finally recognized her. I remember you, he exclaimed. The girl smiled. I look a lot different, huh? Yeah. Gray replied. Another girl bent down beside him, her face flushed and eyes sparkling. Just so you know, every girl in this village has fallen for you because we think you're the coolest guy ever, she exclaimed. Another girl approached and leaned in from the other side. Yeah, she's right. We think you're super awesome, Gray, she gushed. But you think we're cuter in our human forms, don't you? A third girl teased. Gray was overwhelmed by the attention and struggled to find his words. And no, that's not necessarily true. I think you ladies look fine the way you are, he managed to say. To his relief, the girls were thrilled by his response. You've got to be the sweetest guy I've ever met, the first girl joked. You know just what to say to a girl, the second added. Let's do the demon wiggle-waggle dance, the third giggled. The three girls took the surprised Gray and dragged him away. It looks like someone's getting a lot of attention from the ladies. Lucy cooed, giggling. Naruto chuckled, reminded of someone from his past, someone who was part of Team Sasuke. I've found your twin here. He'll scare them off sooner or later, Happy said. Well, I have to admit I was wrong about humans, Mocha said suddenly, catching the attention of the fairy tale team and Naruto. All these years we've chosen to hide from the outside world, afraid that others would judge us by our appearance. Urza smiled. It reminds me of Naruto. He remained hidden from the world for a year, never knowing what was going on outside that forest. I remember it took me 2 days to find him and talk to him. Except, we don't know the reasons why Naruto chose to remain hidden. You know that curse? That was just a rumor we spread so no one would come to the island and bother us. Bobo chimed in. Well, it worked because the sailors at the harbor were terrified. Nobody wanted to come here, Lucy said. I know, and it's a shame. But after meeting you, we've changed our minds. You've restored our faith in humans, and now we're not afraid. We're ready to go out and befriend people from other lands, Mocha said confidently. That's good. Friendship is a beautiful thing. It's an emotional bond that transcends one's physical appearance, Urza smiled warmly. Naruto, Lucy, Happy, Bobo, and Mocha grinned in agreement. Naruto smiled. The tailed beasts are right, I really have been missing out. Urza noticed and couldn't help but smile in happiness. Naruto, you of all people deserve to be happy. I know you've been through a lot, and everyone knows of your heroic deeds. I really hope you join Fairy Tail, Naruto. You'd fit in so well, you will have the family you need and deserve. From atop a cliff, Toby, Yuka, and Sherry watched from a distance. Toby groaned, Are you really going to go down there? I really don't have a choice. It'd be wrong to leave things the way they are now. You just stay here with Cold Emperor Lion, okay? Yuka said. Toby whimpered in response. We have to do this. It's all in the name of love, Sherry stated. As footsteps approached, the villagers' chatter and delight slowly faded into silence and concern. They were getting a visit from Sherry and Yuka, allies of Lion the Cold Emperor. The two stood sternly while the villagers expressed their anxious concern in whispers. Gray noticed and frowned. What do we do? A girl asked fearfully. Don't worry, I'll take care of it, Gray assured. Urza looked over to Naruto, and they both nodded, deciding to confront the two together. Mocha sat in silence and observed. Natsu stopped his fiery feast and turned his attention to the unexpected guests. As Urza opened her mouth, Naruto held up a hand, signaling her to let him handle things for a change. Assuming that was what Naruto meant, Urza nodded. Naruto stepped away from the table to confront their guests. Lucy watched intently. Yuka and Sherry tensed as Naruto remained calm, standing still with his hands tucked comfortably in his pockets. "Hello, is there anything we can help you with?" Naruto asked passively. Urza narrowed her eyes as she observed. "Well, you fairy tailors are pretty tough. The Cold Emperor is so banged up he couldn't even make it down here. As for you, Haruto Uzumaki, you are something else," Yuka said with a smug smile. "That's why we've come to pay you a visit in his place," Sherry added in a serious tone. Immediately, Lucy stood up. "Wait a second. I thought we were cool. Didn't Lion tell you what happened?" "Yes, but that doesn't matter to us," Yuka replied. "We wanted to settle things ourselves," Sherry added. Naruto raised an eyebrow, sensing something was off. Natsu ran up, flames ready. "All right, let's go." "Wait, Natsu," Bobo stopped him. Natsu and Naruto looked over. "Thanks, but we can't keep relying on you. Let us fight them." "He's right, we've got this," another villager said. "If we want to keep our village safe, we have to fight to protect it." "Normally, I would agree with you, gentlemen. But I think it's best if I handle this," Urza suggested. She walked up and stood beside Naruto. "We meet again, Titania of Fairy Tale. You gave dear Angelica quite a beating earlier," Sherry taunted. "You seem like a worthy opponent, both you and Naruto Uzumaki," Yuka smirked. Naruto eyed the two warily, sensing something was off. "This makes no sense. Things have already been settled, so there's no reason to start another fight. They must have another motive. Watch out for that crazy girl Urza. She can control inanimate objects," Lucy warned. "And don't even bother trying to use your magic on her," Natsu chimed in. Urza narrowed her eyes. "Is that so? In that case, I'll just do it the old-fashioned way." She charged at them, ready to engage in hand-to-hand combat. But before she could act, Naruto flashed in front of her, catching Urza by surprise. She stumbled and found herself in Naruto's arms, her head resting against his chest. A slight warmth crept into her cheeks as she blushed. "Are you okay, Urza? Sorry for surprising you like that. I didn't mean to. But something tells me there are better ways to settle this than with violence." "Trust me, I can handle this," Naruto assured her. Urza quickly pushed herself away, avoiding eye contact, her face still flushed. She looked up to see Naruto gazing at her seriously, his warm blue eyes steady on hers. Still unable to speak, Urza nodded. With that, Naruto turned back to Yuka and Sherry. Naruto's calm demeanor shifted as he leaned closer to them, placing a hand on each of their shoulders. "Come on, you two, tell us the truth. What are you really here for?" he asked. Sherry and Yuka exchanged glances and sighed. Lucy widened her eyes. "Wait, so you're not here to attack us?" "We doubt this will make up for all the trouble we've caused, but we wanted to apologize in person," Yuka finally revealed. "Oh, so you came here to settle things in a good way." Happy chirped. "The Cold Emperor told us everything. Thanks to you, we can finally let go of the pain Deliora caused us years ago," Sherry said, her voice tinged with sorrow. "Wait, so you're victims of Deliora too?" Gray asked. "When we were children, the monster ravaged our village. We watched it destroy our friends and family," Yuka explained, sadness evident in her voice. "The Cold Emperor had a plan to kill the demon once and for all. That's why we joined him," Sherry continued. "You see, we wanted revenge. We were so focused on that goal that we never realized we were hurting innocent people," Yuka said. "We were so blinded by our hatred that we acted no better than the demon itself. From now on, we'll treat each other with respect and kindness," Sherry concluded. "Alrighty then," Natsu shouted, breaking the somber atmosphere. He came up from behind the two, slapping them on the shoulder and startling them. "You guys should join us for the feast." "But we were enemies just a moment ago," Yuka said, unsure. "I don't think it's a good idea because I'm trying to watch my figure enough with the excuses. Live a little, would ya?" Natsu exclaimed, dragging them over to the table. Naruto couldn't help but laugh. The two sat awkwardly at the table as the villagers stared at their once unwelcome guests. Naruto smirked. "Now it's looking more like a party." Oh, heck yes, Naruto. Natsu hollered. Lucy, Gray, and Urza looked on happily. From afar, Zalti sat atop a tree, flashing a malevolent grin as a magical crystal ball floated beside him. Were you able to see all of that, sir? Zalti asked the crystal. Yes, a male voice responded. Why did you restore the village? Zalti inquired. Zalti fell silent, unsure if Seagrain, the man he was communicating with through the crystal ball, was aware of Naruto's extraordinary existence in this world. Not wanting to reveal the true reason for restoring the village, instilling fear through Naruto, Zalti simply gave Seagrain a thumbs up and grinned. Because I'm nice. Some would say too nice. You should leave before they find you. Those fairy tale wizards could pose a threat if they get in our way, especially with a new player in the game. And he is quite powerful. Naruto Uzumaki, Seagrain warned with a smirk as if inviting trouble. Zalti chuckled, removing his mask and revealing his true form. Altair stood up in the tree, gripping the crystal ball in her hands. That's true. She furrowed her brows. That demed Naruto Uzumaki. It was morning, but that didn't stop Natsu from stuffing more fireballs into his mouth. Where did the girl and the guy with the eyebrows go? He asked. Like typical party guests, they stuffed their faces and took off, Happy replied. Lucy bent down, eyes wide and blinking. She tilted her head. I think it's going to leave a mark. Gray sighed. Whatever, it doesn't matter to me. On your face? Lucy exclaimed. I don't mind having a few marks as long as I can see them. It's the ones you can't see that sting, Gray said. Lucy giggled and winked at him. Well, aren't you the smooth talker? Natsu frowned at him. So you get invisible marks? Shut up, Natsu. Every time I say something cool, you have to ruin it. Gray snapped. Natsu sighed. How was that cool? Naruto chuckled at the two boys, reminiscing about the petty fights and arguments he used to have with his best friend and rival. What? But you deserve it. Take it, please. Mocha begged. Thank you, but your gratitude is payment enough. Urza kindly refused. That's nice, but you should take the money. Mocha protested. I can't because your request was never officially accepted by the guild. It fell into the hands of foolish wizards trying to prove themselves, Urza said, a hint of irritation in her voice. Mocha chuckled. Foolish as they may be, if it weren't for them, we would have never been saved. What if I give you the money not as a thank you reward, but as a thank you gift? It's the least I can do after everything you've done for our village. Naruto watched in amusement, thinking, this is interesting. Meanwhile, Lucy, Natsu, and Gray stared in hope. When you put it that way, it's hard to say no, Urza said, seeming to give in to Mocha's offer. The three behind her perked up in excitement. She's really going to take it? Gray said in delight. We're rich. Lucy chirped. I'm sorry, but accepting your gift would go against our guild's rules. However, we'd be happy to take the gate key you offered along with it, Urza suggested. Natsu and Gray stared in disbelief. The gate key. Come to Mama. Lucy shouted excitedly. Naruto burst into laughter. Well, at least let me take you back to Harjin, Bobo insisted. Thank you, I'd very much appreciate that. We lent our boat to someone who needed it to get home, Urza agreed. Everyone in the fairy tale team, including Naruto, knew that someone was you are. Bobo smiled. Awesome. As Bobo pulled up a boat, Naruto and the team climbed aboard. The boat was barely big enough for them, and the villagers gathered to bid farewell to their heroes. Naruto was the last to step onto the boat. Realizing it wouldn't hold everyone, he decided to use his ninja abilities to walk on water. Oh no, there isn't enough room. Lucy exclaimed in concern. Oh, do you want me to get a larger boat? It wouldn't be a problem, Bobo offered. Naruto shook his head. It's fine, I have an idea. Everyone tilted their heads in curiosity. What idea? Mocha asked. Naruto smirked. Simple. With that, he stepped into the water. Unlike everyone else, who would have sunk, he simply walked across the surface, much to the shock of onlookers. Wah! The villagers gasped. No way! Don't tell me he's so awesome he can even walk on water? Lucy shouted. Even Natsu and Gray, who had seen Naruto do this before, were still amazed. Urza was speechless. She had never witnessed anyone stand or walk on water. I guess it's just a ninja ability. Since Naruto is a shinobi, it makes sense he can do it too. As they began to set off, the villagers waved goodbye. Goodbye. Be sure to visit someday. Mocha shouted. Lucy stood up, unsteady at first but managed to wave back with a warm smile. You bet. Eventually, they sailed far into the sea, but the villagers continued to wave them off, whispering sweet farewells. Naruto turned back, hand raised in a wave, smiling in satisfaction. That was a great first adventure in this new world. From a distance, Lion, Sherry, Toby, and Yuka stood on the edge of a cliff, watching the wizards sail away from the island and back to their guild. You know, they weren't so bad, Yuka said. Toby stood beside him, wiping his eyes. Guys, I'm not crying, I just got something in my eye. Yeah? You could have fooled me, Yuka teased. Sherry looked over to Lion in concern. Are you okay, Lion? You never got the chance to say goodbye to your friend and give him your love. Lion smiled calmly. It's fine. You two were in a guild once. What's it like? He gazed at the sky, lost in thought. It's quite a shame that Deliora didn't work out, Altair noted. Yes, it is unfortunate. But we had no way of knowing that the demon was already dead. I thought acquiring Deliora would bring me one step closer to my dream, Seagrain replied. Forgive me, Seagrain, I had no idea that woman's magic was so powerful, Altair said sharply. You shouldn't speak about your mother that way. Don't cause her to shed another tear. She was a magnificent wizard who was greatly admired. In fact, if she were still alive today, she would be counted among the 10 wizard saints, Seagrain proclaimed. You give her too much credit. My mother loved her magic and nothing else. It's no wonder my father abandoned her, Altair retorted. They say the greater the loss a person suffers, the stronger they must become to triumph over it, Seagrain replied calmly. I highly doubt my mother thought I was a great loss, Altair scoffed. You never know, what if she took those students to fill the void you left behind? Seagrain suggested, but Altair silenced him with a gesture. Could we please change the subject? I think it's time for us to move on to the next stage, Altair said firmly. Altair, your forehead. What happened? Seagrain suddenly asked, noticing a bump on her forehead. Altair widened her eyes before exclaiming, That Naruto Uzumaki. He headbutt me. Seagrain laughed. That certainly is a delayed reaction. So, Naruto Uzumaki, you said? Is he what the legends describe him to be? How powerful is he? Seagrain asked more seriously. He was very powerful and I'm assuming we haven't seen him at full strength yet. He easily knocked me out with a simple headbutt, Altair replied, clutching her forehead. Interesting. How he is here is beyond our knowledge, but that certainly makes things a lot more fun, Seagrain sneered. We're home. Natsu cheered. Aye, sir. Happy chirped. I'm bummed, all that time and hard work for a lousy gate key, Gray said glumly. Naruto chuckled. Yeah, and that S-class reward was big-time money. Happy added. Well, I'm sorry, but it wasn't an official job. Just be glad you got something, Urza said. She's got a point. Now quit your complaining. Lucy replied smugly. That's pretty easy for you to say, you got a reward. Can we sell it? Happy asked. How could you even suggest that, Happy? You guys just don't get it. They're hard to come by. Sure, there are lots of Silvergate keys, but there are only 12 zodiacs. And I'm lucky enough to have 5. Lucy said excitedly. It's too bad they're all crazy. Natsu teased. Naruto chuckled. You had better watch your mouth, punk. I and my celestial spirits are going to be stronger than you someday. Lucy warned. So, which zodiac key did you end up getting? Gray asked. Naruto was curious too. There were many things different about this world. It's Sagittarius the Centaur. Lucy smiled. It's a horseman? Gray exclaimed. Well, yeah. Lucy replied. You're all so carefree, it's almost as if you forgot we face punishment in the guild, Urza interrupted, breaking the happy atmosphere. Naruto had completely forgotten about the punishment too. But why? Natsu asked frantically as the three jumped in front of Naruto and Urza. Everything worked out in the end. Can't we just forget about the whole punishment thing? Lucy pleaded. You're right, everything worked out, but only because Naruto and I came here to finish the job none of you were qualified to do. Stealing an S-class quest is a serious offense. Urza affirmed. Naruto sighed. He would have let it go. He had taken on dangerous missions back in the Leaf Village as well. We said we're sorry. Lucy whined. Urza sighed, looking over to Naruto, hoping he would have an answer. But Naruto only shrugged at Urza. As long as you promise never to do it again, I don't think you need to be penalized by the guild. However, your fate is in Master Makarov's hands, so I'm sure you'll face some consequences, Urza said bluntly. Lucy, Natsu, Gray, and Happy looked terrified. Naruto sighed, oh boy. Now I'm scared. You think he's going to make us do that? Happy trembled. The group fell silent before Gray bent over in distress. Just end my misery now. I don't think I can handle that again. You guys are freaking me out. Lucy cried. Don't let him scare you. I'll talk the old man out of punishing us. That guy loves me. Natsu assured. I don't know if you should be the one talking. Lucy said doubtfully. Natsu, you can't talk your way out of this one. Good luck with that. Urza chuckled, a hint of mischief in her voice. Natsu's face was drenched in sweat, clearly frightened. Even he was scared. Naruto couldn't help but laugh. It was wrong, but it was so funny. No, save me. Natsu shouted as Urza dragged him along. Lucy turned to Gray, who was still huddled up in fear. Unable to hold it in, she yelled, Will somebody please tell me what that was? I totally freaked out. Naruto shook his head. You shouldn't have taken the quest. A load of questions flowed through Urza's mind as she watched Naruto walk leisurely with his hands tucked comfortably in his pockets. So many questions and so many desired answers. Urza trailed behind Naruto as the rest of the group led the way back to the guild. She felt a connection with Naruto, but still sensed a distance due to his closed-off nature, and she hoped to bridge that gap. Taking a deep breath, she finally gathered the courage to pick up her pace, approach Naruto, and ask the question that had been on her mind. Naruto, she called, catching the attention of Natsu, Lucy, Gray, and Happy, who turned to look at them. Naruto stopped and looked at her attentively, waiting for her to speak. Now that you've gone on your very first adventure in this world, what are you going to do? Will you not join our guild? Will you join Fairy Tail? Urza asked. Naruto remained silent, pondering as he walked. He was still unsure, but he knew joining a guild would be good for him, allowing him to make new friends and learn more about this world. Well, Naruto began. Urza looked at him, anxiously anticipating his answer and bracing herself for a no. But to her pleasant surprise, I don't see why not, Naruto finally said. Everyone stopped walking and looked at Naruto with wide, surprised, but ultimately excited eyes. Really, Naruto? You really mean it? Natsu jumped ecstatically. Naruto chuckled and nodded. Urza let out a heavy breath. Although she hadn't expected this response, she was utterly happy that he would be joining Fairy Tail. I'm happy to hear that you will be joining us, Naruto, she smiled. It will only do me good and no harm. I know I can't remain isolated forever in this world. I want to know and learn more about this interesting world of yours. And I believe the best way to do that is to start by joining a guild. Since I've already been introduced and acquainted with all of you, I've decided to join the Fairy Tail Guild, Naruto asserted. Lucy's eyes lit up with delight. Wow, this is so cool. Urza couldn't help but beam with excitement herself. So Naruto, what's your plan going to be? She asked. Well, first I'll officially become a member of Fairy Tail. To be honest, I have no idea what to do after that. Perhaps I'll go on a mission. I'm assuming that to sustain and support myself, I'll need some money, and seeing how your recent S-Class mission was supposed to come with a hefty reward, I'm guessing wizards make money by taking on missions. Correct me if I'm wrong, Naruto said. Wow, that's very true. That's amazing that you figured that out already. That's too cool, Gray smirked. Naruto shrugged nonchalantly. I merely observed. Nothing too impressive. Natsu was in awe of this legendary shinobi. From the beginning, Naruto had been an idol to him, someone to look up to and strive to be like. All Natsu wanted now was to spend more time with Naruto, bonding and learning from him. The group was so caught up in their excitement that they didn't even notice the curious stares of the townspeople, whose faces had gone completely blank. They whispered among themselves as if they had just witnessed a legendary battle. Either their eyes were deceiving them, or they were truly seeing Naruto Uzumaki wandering through the streets with a few members of the Fairy Tail Guild. Natsu and Lucy looked at Naruto with utter admiration. Urza smiled at him, stealing glances through the wall he had built around himself. Eventually, the team made it back to the guild hall. Natsu chuckled before kicking open the guild doors with a big cheeky grin. Guess who's back? He burst as the whole team strolled in, with Naruto casually following behind. Makarov let out a sigh of relief mixed with frustration. You guys are finally back. We were all worried about you. Mira smiled. Don't worry, Mira, we're fine, Urza assured her. So what happened? Did you guys finish the job? Kana asked in her usual tipsy tone. Yeah, we have Naruto to thank for that. If it weren't for him, I would have just taken these fools and headed straight back to the guild. But he insisted we finish the job and I'm glad we did, Urza said warmly. And speaking of, is he here? Or did he part ways with you after finishing the job? Makarov asked curiously. Gray smirked and pointed his thumb back at Naruto. He's back here trying to be coy, but he's here. Naruto finally stepped out, peeking his head through the team. Sup? He walked over to the bar and took a seat on the stool, looking over at Mira before giving her a grin. I'd like to officially become a member of this guild. The guild fell silent as Urza, Natsu, Gray, Lucy, and Happy exchanged smirks. Wah! Naruto chuckled. Yup, you heard me. I would like to join this guild. I think I'd fit in here. Everyone seems likable and fun. I'd enjoy my time here. So, go on then, make me a member of Fairy Tail. Welcome to Fairy Tail, Naruto Uzumaki, Makarov beamed. Those words sent shivers down the guild members' spines. They never thought they would hear such words spoken in their guild. Naruto smiled. Thank you. Listen, Naruto, whatever you went through back in the elemental nations is in the past. It's best not to dwell on it. Always remember, but don't forget that eventually you will need to move on, Makarov said. Naruto smiled sadly and nodded. As much as he didn't want to admit it, he knew there was truth in those words. Urza noticed Naruto's somber expression and, unable to see him unhappy any longer, immediately went over to comfort him. She took a seat to his right and gently placed her hand on his back. You're right, and thank you all for being so kind and accepting of me. It means so much, Naruto said, his voice trembling as he fought back tears. Mira gazed at Naruto, took a deep breath, and walked around the bar counter to sit beside him. She gently held his face in her hands, making him look directly into her eyes. Her heart melted as she stared into his innocent and pained blue eyes. The guild watched intently. Without saying a word, she wrapped her arms around his shoulders, and he leaned into her embrace, feeling the warmth, acceptance, and kindness radiating from her. Naruto sank into the embrace, his arms falling limp as he trusted that Mira would support him, and she did. Listen, Naruto, you are here now, in Fairy Tail, a safe haven for you. We will always be here, we will always accept you, and we will love you always, Mira spoke softly. That's right, Naruto. We know you must have been through a lot, but you're here now, and we don't want you to ever forget that Fairy Tail is where you belong. This is your home and will always be your home, Natsu added. The rest of the guild nodded in agreement with Natsu. With that, Naruto carefully released himself from the comforting embrace and looked at Mira, then over to the rest of the guild members. Thank you, Mira. Thank you all. Now then, we have other important matters to discuss, Naruto said firmly. Right? Mira nodded, leaving her seat and returning to behind the counter. Makarov sighed and looked over at the legendary shinobi. Well then, Naruto, what will you do now that you've become an official member of Fairy Tail? He asked. I know I will need a place to settle down permanently and live. To do that, I know I will need something to sustain myself, perhaps money. I understand that I must take on missions. Am I correct? Naruto affirmed. That's quite right, Naruto. A wizard earns money by taking on missions. Every mission comes with a reward, even the simplest tasks, like cleaning the bathroom, Mira explained. I see. However, before I start taking jobs and missions, I think it's important for me to get familiar with this world and this town, Naruto said. In fact, before I do anything, I feel a bit incomplete without my sage coat. Is there a place in town where I can get my clothes specially made? There is. Plenty, in fact. Look, Naruto, why don't you let Team Natsu show you around? It's a great idea. You'll get to know your way around the town. Mira beamed. Naruto raised an eyebrow. Team Natsu? That would be us. Lucy said cheerfully, raising her hand to direct Naruto's attention to her. Urza chuckled. We haven't had a proper introduction yet, have we? I'll start. I'm Urza Scarlet. It's nice to meet you, Naruto Uzumaki. I'm Lucy Heartfilia. I've heard so many great stories about you, I still can't believe you're here. Lucy gushed. I'm Natsu Dragneel. I'm going to challenge you one day, Naruto Uzumaki. You better be ready. Natsu smirked. Naruto laughed. Anytime, man. I'm Gray Fullbuster. It's cool that someone as awesome as you is joining us. I look forward to the future with you, Gray said, intrigued by Naruto, just as Urza was. And I'm happy. Kat cheered. This Naruto makes up Team Natsu. Makarov said proudly. If you don't mind, we'd be more than happy to have you with us as well. You could join us on missions, and the rewards we earn will always be split equally, Urza suggested. I see. I'll take it into consideration. Right now, let's go. Lead the way, Team Natsu. Naruto said. You got it. Well guys, we're off. Lucy cheered as Team Natsu got up, turned around, and waved to the guild as they set off. Have fun. Mikao smirked, waving his hand energetically. Come on. Follow us, Naruto. We'll show you around. Natsu said brightly. Gray smirked, still trying to wrap his mind around the fact that Naruto Uzumaki really existed, let alone that this legendary figure had just joined the Fairy Tale Guild. As they walked through town, they continued to receive curious looks from the townspeople. Two middle-aged men whispered to each other, casting suspicious glances at Naruto. Hey, who is that blonde guy walking around with the Fairy Tale members? I don't think I've ever seen him before, one man with black hair and gray streaks asked his friend, who was also eyeing Naruto uneasily. I don't know, but for some reason he feels familiar, the other replied. Naruto sensed that he was the subject of conversation among the townspeople. He could feel their stares directed at him. Urza noticed the attention they were receiving and worried that Naruto might feel uncomfortable. Don't pay attention to them, Naruto. It's fine, Urza assured him. Naruto nodded, unfazed by the attention. He was indifferent to being the center of focus or being overlooked. So, you said you wanted a place to get specially made clothes, right? Urza asked for confirmation. Naruto nodded. So, what's your plan after this? Are you going to go on a mission or something? Lucy asked, her curiosity piqued. Urza listened intently. Probably. I still want to get to know this world more, so I really should, Naruto replied casually, his hands tucked into his pockets. Are you more of a solo person or a team player? Lucy continued. Depends. I'm actually a bit of both, Naruto said. Hey, Naruto. You should go on a mission with me sometime. Happy chirped. Naruto laughed. Sure. The team was stopped when a middle-aged lady approached them, her expression a mix of suspicion and curiosity. She was short, standing up to Urza's shoulders, with black hair streaked with gray slicked back into a bun, dressed in a simple black gown. Excuse me, but may I ask your name, sir? You, the tall, spiky blonde gentleman, she said. Team Natsu looked over to Naruto, waiting for his answer. Takuma Shiroyama, Naruto replied. The team looked at him in surprise. The lady furrowed her brows in confusion, crossing her arms over her chest. Oh, I see. I'm sorry for stopping you. I shall go now. She bowed her head before walking away. Naruto, why did you tell her an alias? Gray asked. If I told her my name, she would probably know who I am and start talking about it endlessly. Sometimes it's just easier to not tell the whole truth, Naruto replied nonchalantly. All he wanted was to get his overcoat. He felt incomplete without it. Plus, he had a pretty good idea of what he wanted it to look like. Naruto, you always surprise us. You are full of mysteries, Urza thought as she observed him intently. Now, let's continue, shall we? Naruto suddenly brightened up and started walking again, with the team following closely behind. At last, Naruto and Team Natsu arrived at a clothing store. As they entered, they were greeted by the owner, a tall man in his mid-40s with a small mustache above his upper lip. As soon as he laid eyes on Naruto, his eyes widened in surprise, glued to him. Hello, how can I help you? He asked, still staring at Naruto. Team Natsu, especially Urza, wished that not every person they encountered looked at Naruto as if he were a ghost. Although Naruto didn't mind, Team Natsu worried that it might bother him, which it didn't. Well, Naruto, what do you want? Natsu asked, not realizing the impact of his words. Naruto? Naruto Uzumaki? The Naruto Uzumaki? The owner exclaimed. Urza sighed. Yes, now will you please listen to what he wants? The owner nodded enthusiastically. Yes, of course. Wait, he's dead. You're joking? There's no way, just stop. Please. Yes, this is Naruto Uzumaki. Now please, listen to what he wants, Gray snapped in annoyance. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I'm so sorry. Please, sir, go on. What would you like? The owner finally snapped out of his daze. Naruto chuckled. It's okay. Guys, calm down, it's okay. Now, sir, I would like a long, red knee-length overcoat, high-collared, decorated with black flames and the Fairy Tail Guild symbol imprinted on the back, please. Team Natsu perked up at Naruto's request. The owner smiled and nodded. Yes, of course. Also, if you don't mind, let me pay. It is a great pleasure and an honor to meet you, Naruto Uzumaki. The team smiled, pleased to see Naruto treated with the respect he deserved, rather than as some sort of alien or godlike figure. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it, Naruto replied with a warm smile. The making process took 4 hours, but Naruto was thrilled with the outcome of his coat and grateful to the kind owner. Please try it on right here, right now. This is something to be remembered, the owner encouraged brightly. Yeah, Naruto. Try it on. I bet it'll look amazing on you. Lucy beamed. With that, Naruto removed his katana and handed it to Urza, who carefully took hold of it while draping the newly made coat over him. It's perfect. It was worth the wait, Naruto said, feeling content. It fits you very well, Urza smiled, her cheeks slightly flushed. Naruto, I truly admire and respect you. Dang, Naruto, you look awesome. Natsu smirked. Naruto felt genuinely pleased with the compliments and support from Team Natsu. He then turned to the owner. May I ask, what is your name, sir? Mark, the owner replied. Naruto extended his hand for a friendly handshake, and Mark gladly accepted, shaking it enthusiastically. Thank you, Mark. I'll forever treasure this. One day, I will be sure to return the favor. My honor, Naruto Uzumaki, Mark beamed, still in disbelief. Is this really happening? Did he really come into my shop and try on the coat I made for him? Am I dreaming? I, Naruto Uzumaki, am now an official member of Fairy Tail. I will devote, protect, and cherish you all forever. Thank you for accepting me and taking me in, Naruto proclaimed, placing his fist over his heart. Welcome. Naruto Uzumaki, you're in for the time of your life. Once a fairy, always a fairy, Urza smirked. The fairy tale symbol glowed on the back of Naruto, and Team Natsu felt a swell of pride seeing him wear that coat. They were thrilled to have him in their guild. Naruto waved goodbye to Mark before parting with his team. Mark was still astonished by what had just happened in his shop. He couldn't shake the feeling that he had just experienced something extraordinary. Team Natsu and Naruto began their journey back to their guild. Naruto felt rejuvenated, ready to start a new life with new friends and a new family. Urza was genuinely happy to have met Naruto. She hadn't expected him to join Fairy Tail, but here they were, walking casually together, with him wearing a beautiful, newly made coat that symbolized his place in the guild. Adjusting to the idea of having a new member would take time, but Team Natsu knew their lives were about to become much more exciting. Urza looked down, realizing she was still holding Naruto's katana. She examined it closely. It wasn't as long or heavy as the swords she usually summoned for battle. It intrigued her that she had yet to see Naruto use this katana in a fight. "Naruto," Urza called, catching the attention of the team. He turned to her, his deep baby blue eyes meeting hers. "Here, your katana. You should take it back," she said, trying her best to keep her composure as she handed it back to him. Naruto accepted it gratefully. "Thank you for holding on to it for me." Urza glanced away, trying to hide the blush creeping up her cheeks. Why does this happen every time? With his katana back in place, Naruto felt complete and ready for action. "Hey, Naruto, are you planning on taking on some missions soon?" Gray asked, his shirt once again absent from his upper body. "Put on your shirt, ice freak." Natsu retorted. Gray shot a glare at Natsu. "Shut up, punk. I guess I could. I'm a bit bored, and figuring my way around this town could be easier with a mission," Naruto replied, curious about the non-S-class jobs. If the S-class jobs were this simple, he wondered what the regular missions would be like. "Would you like us to go with you? I assume you'd want someone to help you navigate so you don't get lost," Lucy offered. "Not all of you, maybe just one," Naruto suggested. The team exchanged glances, debating who should accompany Naruto on his mission. I want to, Natsu exclaimed. "No, Natsu, I want to. You're just going to fight him, not focus on the mission." Gray argued. "But he already helped you out. Let others experience this too." Natsu shot back. "You experienced it too. You were alone with him for a while." Gray countered. Urza sighed, stepping in to intervene. She took both their heads and gently but firmly brought them together. "Ow!" Gray and Natsu shouted in unison. "What was that for? Would you two quit bickering? You're each going to get a chance to go on a mission with Naruto, so stop fighting like children, please." Urza huffed. Naruto chuckled, finding the situation amusing. Every time he saw Natsu and Gray bicker, he was reminded of the elemental nations, back when he was still a genin. Technically, he would still be a genin had he not died, which still puzzled him. He recalled the days when he and Sasuke would bicker just as much, if not more, than Natsu and Gray. Urza didn't want to admit it out loud, but she too was eager to go on a mission, just her and Naruto. From the day she spotted him by accident, she had been intrigued by him. Soon, Team Natsu and Naruto stood at the doorsteps of the guild. Natsu took a deep breath before kicking the doors open. "We're back!" Natsu shouted excitedly. Mira immediately grinned upon seeing the team, bobbing her head around to check that everyone who went out had returned. Following Natsu, Gray and Lucy entered, and then came Urza, with Happy floating beside her, wearing his usual cheerful expression. "Where's Naruto?" Mira wondered. Natsu raised his eyebrows, turning around to find their new spiky blonde member. "Hey Naruto! Hurry up! You're so slow. Everyone else is already here." Naruto laughed. "Sorry man. I'll pick up the pace." "Ha!" Urza couldn't help but chuckle. She was eager to see the guild's reaction when they saw him in his newly made coat. It looked fantastic on him. Very soon, Naruto stepped into the guild, his overcoat flowing as he strolled in. "Oh, Naruto got a fancy new upgrade." Mira hummed as she laid her eyes on the ninja. "Dang Naruto, you look awesome. That coat looks so cool on you, and you're rocking it effortlessly." Levi chimed in. Naruto smiled. "Thank you, you're too nice, huh?" "Turn around, Naruto," Urza added, smirking. With that he spun around, displaying the fairy tale symbol for the guild members. Makarov hummed proudly. "Very nice, nah. I am very happy to have you in Fairy Tail. Welcome and enjoy your time here." "You bet I will. I'm starting my life anew. You are my family now, and I will always be grateful for you all. I will protect you with my life," Naruto declared. "That's right. Be a man." Elfman boomed. What are you talking about? Naruto is definitely a man. Probably more of a man than you. Natsu shot back. Elfman slowly turned his attention to the pink-haired dragon slayer. Now Natsu, that was very unmanly of you to say. You sissy. What did you say? Natsu exclaimed, charging at Elfman, which sparked another one of Fairy Tail's playful scuffles. Mira exhaled, face-palming. Oh boy. Naruto couldn't help but burst into laughter. The fights you guys get into are just the best. Erza smiled at Naruto. Don't mind them, they're just a bunch of goofballs. As you spend more time with us, you'll find that these little fights happen quite often. Frankly, it happens a little too often. Naruto continued to laugh. You guys are silly. He then made his way carefully across the guild hall to the bar, where Mira stood. Erza soon followed him. Mira waved excitedly. Hey, Naruto. Hey. Naruto grinned as he approached the bar with Erza. Looking great there, Naruto. Mira chirped, and Erza nodded in agreement. So, I'm looking for a job to take on. One that requires some effort, but not as much as an S-class mission, Naruto inquired. Of course. In fact, why don't you go over to the request board and pick out any job from there? Mira urged, pointing to the left where the request board was located. I can pick any of those jobs from that board? Naruto asked, and Mira smiled and nodded. Erza placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder, leading him over to the request board as he followed her. Come on, Naruto, let's pick one out now. I'll accompany you on this job if you don't mind, Erza suggested. Sure. Naruto stood, scanning the board for a job that he and Erza could complete together. They all seemed very easy, not too big of a deal, and none involved anything dangerous, unlike some of the missions shinobis were sent on back in the elemental nations. I'm not sure, why don't you pick one, Erza? Anyone is fine, Naruto said. Erza nodded. Hey, Naruto, why don't we go on this job? It requires us to guard a cargo train containing jewels and other valuable materials. Is that good enough for you? Erza asked, reaching over to pull the paper pinned to the board. Yeah, sounds easy enough. I'm not in the mood for any big jobs that require too much effort. So what now? Do we just go? Do we notify Makarov or Mira, or what do we do? Naruto asked, wondering because back in the elemental nations, it was Lady Tsunade who assigned the missions to him. We just go. You can tell Mira if you want, but you don't have to. Most people just take a job and get on with it, except for S-class jobs, Erza explained. Naruto nodded. I see. Okay, so then what are we waiting for? Let's go. Erza brightened up, excited to go on this mission with just Naruto. All right. Erza and Naruto headed back over to the bar. Hey Mira, Naruto and I are going on a job. We'll be back soon. If the others ask, just tell them exactly that, Erza told Mira. Oh, just you and Naruto, Mira cooed. Erza shook her head, turning away from both Naruto and Mira, who chuckled silently to themselves. Erza felt her cheeks flush again. I'm just messing with you, Erza. You both have fun. Mira beamed happily. Mira was perceptive. Erza rarely showed any emotion, so it was clear to her that Erza was beginning to admire Naruto differently. Naruto smiled. I sure will. Come on, Erza. Natsu noticed the two and eyed them suspiciously. He quickly caught up with them just before they exited the guild hall. Hey, where are you two going off to? Natsu asked, his eyebrows slightly furrowed. Going on a mission with Naruto, Erza answered nonchalantly. Natsu raised his brows. What? That's not fair. I wanted to go on a mission with Naruto. Erza sighed. Naruto laughed. Calm down, man. Don't worry, you'll go on a mission with me soon. I'm just going on an easy one to get a taste of these jobs. Natsu huffed childishly. Fine. Yeah, you fireball, stop being so dramatic. Gray suddenly chimed in. Natsu then turned his attention to the ice wizard. What? Natsu hollered. Meanwhile, the rest of the guild members just sighed. Well, I hope you have fun, Naruto. See you later. Lucy replied enthusiastically. Yeah, Naruto, just ignore this idiot fireball. Be safe and have fun, man. Gray added. Naruto waved to his fellow blonde and the ice wizard. Thanks, Lucy. Gray. I will. With that, Naruto and Urza finally set out for Naruto's first official job. A small smile crept up Urza's face as she silently rejoiced. Naruto and Urza walked side by side as they strolled down the streets of Magnolia. Urza eyed the shinobi intently. Although she had spent time with Naruto during their journey to Galuna Island, she was eager and grateful to be able to go on this job and hopefully bond with him more. Naruto seemed so closed off and distant from her and the rest of the fairy tale guild. Urza hoped to bring him warmth so that he would eventually open up to either her or the guild. She knew it wasn't healthy for Naruto to keep his feelings and thoughts bottled up. It must be painful for him, and Urza would do everything in her power to help him find relief. After a long, silent walk, Naruto finally spoke up. So, how are we supposed to get to the train we are guarding? He asked. Well, first we have to arrive at the train station. After that, we wait for our train to come, and from there, I believe that's where our job begins, Urza explained. I see. Seems simple enough. I'm curious to see how these jobs work. It will take me a while to settle in and get used to everything. It's all still very new to me, so I'm completely dependent on you and the guild for now. At least until I can navigate around town without getting lost and until I am stable with these jobs, Naruto said. Urza nodded. That is completely fine. I understand. You've been isolated in that forest for a whole year. It may not seem like much, but it is certainly a long time to spend there. So I absolutely do not mind lending you a hand. Naruto smiled in relief. Thank you so much, Urza. Oh Naruto, you say thank you too often. It should be us thanking you. Without you, there would be no wizards or anything. You are just too kind and humble. After walking for a few hours, Urza and Naruto finally arrived at Ashibana Station. We are here no. This is it. Ashibana train station, Urza said as Naruto looked on before they continued into the station. As they approached the front desk, they were greeted with shocked expressions, wide open mouths, and eyes nearly popping out of their sockets. Although Urza knew that the stairs were not meant for her, she could still feel the piercing gazes and continuously looked over at Naruto, worried that he would be uncomfortable. A young lady stood at the front desk, wearing large, round glasses with her hair pulled up in a neat bun. She wore a pink button-up blouse and a plain silver pencil skirt. The tag sitting on top of the desk in front of her read, Cindy. Cindy could not stop herself from gawking at Naruto as she tried to reason with herself, telling herself that the person standing in front of her was not the legendary figure she had in mind. Urza sighed. Listen, Miss Cindy, may we please have 2 tickets for the train that is supposed to arrive at 11 a.m.? The 11 a.m. train? I said, you two must be from Fairy Tale. I'm assuming you are the ones guarding the cargo train then. Yes, Urza replied shortly. May I please have your names then? Cindy asked as she reached beside her to grab 2 small rectangular train tickets and a pen. Oh yes, pardon my rudeness. I am Urza Scarlet. Urza introduced herself. Ah yes, with that armor and scarlet hair, it is unmistakable. The mighty Titania of Fairy Tale. Very well, then, who is the gentleman standing behind you? Cindy asked, trying to convince herself that she was just imagining things. The man behind me is Naruto Uzumaki, Urza said nonchalantly. Cindy froze. Excuse me, what did you say this gentleman's name was? Urza sighed. I should have just given him an alias. You heard what I said. This man standing beside me is indeed Naruto Uzumaki, Urza confirmed. Why you're joking, right? Naruto Uzumaki is dead. Cindy doubted. However, as much as she didn't want to believe it, she couldn't deny that the man standing in front of her perfectly matched Naruto's description. Spiky blonde hair, baby blue eyes, and 6 whiskers on his face, 3 on each side. Look, whether you want to believe it or not, that's up to you. But right now, we are on a job and don't have much time. So I would appreciate it if you would stop wasting our time, as you also have customers behind us waiting to be checked in, Urza said bluntly. Reluctantly, Cindy finished up and handed the 2 their train tickets. I apologize for my inappropriate behavior. Urza politely took the tickets from her hands and gave Naruto his ticket. Come on, Naruto. We must not waste any more time. Our train is supposed to be arriving at 11 o'clock, and right now we have about 10 minutes. So let's get a move on, Urza asserted. Naruto nodded and he and Urza took off. Urza always hated it when Naruto was treated that way. She understood that he was regarded as a legendary figure, but he was still a human being and deserved to be treated with respect. Naruto noticed how tense Urza was after what happened at the front desk. Urza, relax, it's okay. It's no big deal. Don't get so worked up, okay? Urza sighed. You're right, Naruto. I'm sorry, I just can't stand it when people do that to you. Naruto chuckled. I could care less about all of that. There are more important things to worry about. Urza nodded in agreement, and with that, the two continued with the next part of their journey, the train they were assigned to guard. At last, Naruto and Urza arrived at their stop. Here we are. We still have some time left. We are 5 minutes early. Why don't we sit down and rest for a bit? Urza suggested. Yeah, sure, Naruto agreed. The two strolled over and sat down on a wooden bench. Urza took a breath before glancing at Naruto, who leaned back against the bench with his hands resting behind his head, his eyes gently closed. Urza smiled softly at the resting Naruto. She too felt a bit tired from everything that had happened since she met him. She was tempted to lay her head on his strong yet soft-looking shoulder and just close her eyes. Urza wanted to bond with Naruto more. She wanted to talk to him and know more about him. She desperately wished to help him, aware that he still carried the pain of his past experiences in the elemental nations. Maintaining a respectful distance, the two remained like this until their train arrived. Soon, Urza heard the high-pitched sound of the train approaching, and as much as she felt guilty for having to wake Naruto up yet again, she stood up and lightly tapped him on the shoulder. Naruto opened his eyes slowly and looked up at Urza. Our train is here? He asked. Yes. If you want, you can rest more on the train. We can take turns guarding the cargo, Urza suggested. Naruto shook his head as he stood up. I'm fine, Urza. No need to worry. Let's do this. Very well, Urza replied. With that, the two stepped onto the train, holding out their tickets for the conductor to punch. After the conductor punched Urza's ticket, he looked up at the spiky blonde shinobi with weary eyes. Who are you really? The conductor asked, mistrust evident in his tone. Sir, I am Naruto Uzumaki, Naruto answered. The conductor raised an eyebrow in doubt. Son, you won't get anywhere if you don't tell the truth. Before Naruto could respond, Urza chimed in, slightly irritated. Sir, whether you'd like to believe it or not, this man is indeed Naruto Uzumaki, she affirmed. Sorry, while I do believe that you are Urza Scarlet, I just cannot accept that this man is the legendary Naruto Uzumaki from thousands of years ago, the conductor said stubbornly. Urza sighed in frustration. It's okay, Urza, Naruto assured, noticing her tension. Listen, sir, we cannot waste any more time. We are here for a job. So please, just punch his ticket and let him on. Whether you believe it or not, he is one of the people assigned to guard the cargo on this train, Urza reasoned. The conductor let out a defeated exhale before reluctantly deciding to punch Naruto's ticket. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it, Naruto said gratefully. Urza shook her head in disbelief. Oh Naruto, even after this conductor treats you like this, you still muster the energy to thank him. You are certainly one of a kind. So, what exactly is the cargo that we are supposedly guarding? Naruto asked out of curiosity as he and Urza took a seat beside the train window. From what I read on the job request, I believe it is gold and diamonds. Word about trains transporting these luxurious gems spreads quickly, unfortunately to the wrong people as well. There have been numerous cases of cargo trains being hijacked and completely stripped of their cargo. So it is not uncommon for wizards to go on escorting jobs like this one, Urza explained. And where is this train headed? Naruto continued. I believe it is transporting cargo to Clover Town, which is just ahead of Magnolia Town. It is also the town where the guild masters meet, Urza answered. Naruto nodded in understanding. I see. It is much tamer than the escorting mission that Grandma Tsunade would send me on. Even my very first escorting mission wasn't as easy and simple as this one, Naruto recalled.